Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
Come back.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
so, guys,
song.
we are early. 4 minutes again. Jose, you said PBD's not Syrian. He's Mexican. He's always late. I'm not even Syrian. I'm Assyrian. Assyrian, Armenian. Assyrians had a big convention this last Thursday. They had a lineup of girls for Vinny to be there, his potential future wife. Vinny comes back telling me he's never seen this many beautiful Assyrians in one room before. And by the way, to all the Assyrians, I'm not going to drop the names because I'm just going to, process of elimination until we have one. We love you. I wish I was there with you. I had a good meeting right before that. One of the lady entrepreneurs came to the house. We had great conversation together. Vinny, you're telling me a lot of these Assyrians, they want to send something to put on the set. Send it here. Find out our address. Menect Vinny. This is Vinny's Menect. He'll give you the address. Ship it something here to us. We'll put something on the set here. But can a father do a quick? Can I brag about Dylan?
Please.
Chad, I don't usually use this platform, but yesterday Dylan and he's got a big game today. Watch what Dylan does here. Go ahead and play this clip, Rob. This is Dilly Boy.
Dill?
No way.
Okay, buddy.
Snap. In the rain.
10 years old? How old is he now?
10 years old.
And the slide.
Dude, this kid is no joke.
He's the Assyrian.
Yeah.
Bo Jackson.
He's got the number 7.
Nice.
He's all, excited about it. Anyways, Dilly Boy, excited to see what you do with this. He's stayed disciplined during summer. He trained every day. Like when I'm saying train, he trained every day, sweating for a couple hours. And we'll see how he's going to do this season. Coach, we went and picked up the jerseys. Coach told him, said, hey, Dilly, you know why you got number 7, right? Dylan's like, yeah, I know. Says, you better score a lot of goals because you're the striker. He says, no, I know. I'm going to do my part. So anyways, we got a lot of stories to go through. For some of you guys that are wondering, the wife search for Vinny is still on. It does. By the way, it doesn't mean Vinny is officially taken. He's still not off the market.
Okay.
He is still out there available. If you go to, I think Tinder/Vincent Oshana?
Nice.
No, he's off of it. He's no longer on Tinder.
Okay,
it's a different Assyrian website.
Well, it's election
Yes.
year. Maybe we should have a convention to get you a running mate.
Okay, let's go through a couple
tell
stories.
the ladies out there, listen, you're going to like the way this guy looks on you.
John Cena.
Money back guarantee.
John Cena approached uncomfortable conversation with his wife about not wanting kids. Okay, and his answer, you have to watch this. I think it was on the Shay Shay podcast. Trudeau called out by steelworker who refuses to shake his hand during blunt... Folks, you have to see this. California auto insurance costs are set to rise. Again, people will say, Pat, you always take shots at California. I want to tell you what's going with your state and then how much it's increasing in other states. I think you need to know that California rates are going to go up 54% by the end of the year compared to last year. Not 54% up in 4 years, not 2 years. In 1 year, it's going up. Billionaire Mark Cuban decides to send a poll to parents asking if Trump or Kamala is a better role model for their kids. And he is shell-shocked by the results. Why Kamala Harris's approach to capital gains is generating so much controversy. We'll talk about that. X goes offline in Brazil after Elon Musk's refusal to comply with local news. Aurora police reacts to alleged Venezuelan gang presence at apartments have not taken over. We'll show you the clip. I'm sure you've seen it. We have some thoughts here. Has not made any effort, says Tulsi Gabbard, calling out Kamala Harris for skipping Arlington, says Trump team was approved to cover, and there's a bunch of controversy they're saying about that. And then we have Trump says abortion should be legal for more than 6 weeks. Cotton says he's open to Trump's IVF proposal. And Graham says he wouldn't support insurance companies mandating for IVF. We'll process that. Harris doesn't get the convention bounce, but widens gap with women. Israeli set to strike as around 500,000 protesters after hostages found murdered in cold blood. U.S. citizens Hirsch, Goldberg, Poland among 6 hostages found dead in Gaza. Bill Ackman says X-ban will make Brazil an uninvestable market. Ford walks back woke DEI policies, growing list of companies that are stepping away from DEI. Nancy Pelosi said the craziest thing. You have to almost respect for her to be that direct with you when she said that, but you have to hear what she said to Bill Maher. This state decides to launch a home loan program up to $150,000 based solely, ready, on race. And we'll tell you which race is a part of this, whether you can qualify for this or not to move there. And last but not least, Turkey bids to join BRICS and push to build alliances beyond West. Anyways, those are some of the stories we're going to be covering. One thing to know, the debate is officially happening. Next is a Tuesday night, Rob. So we're doing right after the Vol Conference. I'm going to be at the Vol Conference this weekend at Palm Beach Convention Center. Bunch of people will be there. Thousands of people are coming from around the world. Cannot wait to see all of you guys. However, next Tuesday night, we will do a live Trump-Harris debate reaction with a live audience. But just like last time, we don't sell the full room because our employees like to come. We're only selling the first 50 tickets that buy. We will still do the VIP. We'll still go afterwards, have the cigar, the conversations. We're going to do that part. That's the QR code. Go get registered. The first 50 that buy tickets will be invited to be with us next Tuesday. Rob, what time is is it going to be a 6 to 11 type of situation that we're doing?
Yes, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m.
7 p.m. to 11 p.m. And, of course, we'll do the cigars right after the debate's over with. And there's a lot of craziness going on here, but especially with everything going on right now, if you're following this will be the first debate they're having. Come join us. We'll have a good time together, as well as potentially for the VIPs, we'll do cigars and conversations afterwards. All right, let's get right into it. John Cena. I want to go to John first. How John Cena approached uncomfortable conversation with his wife about not wanting kids. And by the way, this is with Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe's podcast, Shay Shay. I think it's called Club Shay Shay. Here's how the conversation starts, and I want to kind of process this with everybody on the panel. Go ahead, Rob.
You didn't want kids. Where are you on kids now?
I don't want them.
You don't?
No, and I'm still there. I'm 47. I don't have them.
You don't want a little Johnny?
So.
Or Joanna?
That's great, and that's usually what everyone says. And I got to tell you, it's not the easiest out there because a lot of why we're here is to reproduce. Mm-hmm. I have a certain curiosity about life, and I also know the investment that it takes. Mm-hmm. And my biggest fear is, as someone who's driven, many times stubborn and selfish, I try to approach the world with kindness and curiosity, but I don't think I'm personally ready, nor will I ever be, to invest the time it needs to be a great parent, because I want to live life for all it is. And I still have a lot to do, and I still want to do a lot. I have a wonderful partner I do it with. We've had open conversations about this. We share the same values. It's a tough subject to talk about, because it immediately puts you in a category, and we can't help but judge. People are human nature. We're all judgmental. I'd like to believe that I operate under the construct that everyone's okay living their life. And I can tell you, this is not like a knee-jerk reaction. Mm-hmm. I've thought long and hard about this, even as my youngest age.
By the way, Tom, your thoughts listening to what he's saying about, the great thing about competitive people, we're stubborn and selfish, right? He says you have to make a great investment. What are your thoughts about what he's saying here?
Well, number one, he is facing the reality of age for him and his wife, having a child there and then being 65 when they're graduating high school. There's a window there that I think is reality that he touched on. But I also think he touched on something that I think is prevalent in society about, hey, I'm stubborn, I'm competitive, I'm a little selfish. And I think that's where I disagree with people. I think one of the greatest things that being a parent does for you is if you really want to be great, it will make you less selfish, because you have to spread your time if you want to be successful. If you have a simple goal, I don't want to have a child no one else wants to be around. I want the child to be a great citizen and have a great stepping off point for life. Whether I'm a plumber and I want my son to take over the business, or my child's going to go on a study STEM, which is worth investing in college, or whatever that is, that is good. But you have to understand that you can't be selfish. You have to spread yourself around. And that's not easy. But for people to say, this has passed me by, I would challenge John and say, well, what about the Special Olympics? What about being a big brother, big sister in your community? All you have to do is you can apply, you can fill out a form. They do a little background check on you so that bad people are not being part of the Big Brother, Big Sister program. You can do that. You can do what Adam does. One of the things that I absolutely admire about Adam is when he talks about his nephew, you know, and that. So you can invest that way. And I think America needs a community of strong parents and people willing to be parents when the time is right and the age is right, and not be selfish at that point. But you can pour yourself into helping these United States as Big Brother, Big Sister, and all these
Rob,
other things.
what do you think about it, Rob? How do you feel about it as a parent yourself? I know I'm going to you next, kind of weird, but how do you feel about it?
It's the greatest job that I've ever had is being a parent. So unfortunately, I don't think you realize that until you're in it. And some people are going to miss out, especially guys like John Cena. When you see the work that John Cena has done for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the guy's been very giving, especially to the audience. So you see what a loving person he is, and it feels like children are going to miss out on not having that type of role model as a father. That being said, it's not for everybody. Not everybody makes good parents.
Adam, Vinny.
I mean, just think about the moment he started talking and he said 47, it jumped in my head because I'm 46 and I have the complete opposite attitude. And again, my brain tried to go to judge, but he even said it's like, listen, I'm not going to judge him, to each his own, his life. I'm just curious when it comes to the selfishness aspect. It's like you have a lot of money. You can have a lot of help. It's not like he's going to have the baby PBD and hold it and burp it. And, you know, people with that type of money, you can have help. You could have a nanny. You could have 2 nannies. That's not going to break his bank. But I'm just curious, Pat, what his upbringing was with his family and what his father and his mother. I don't know the relationship. I don't know the dynamic. And I'm curious to know if he's a Christian as well, because he did say, you know, we're told that we're supposed to, you know, multiply and you know, and spread, you know, have children. So I'm curious to see that. But I mean, I respect the decision. I don't agree with it. Mind you, like I said, I'm 46, Pat, and like just even like we said about the Caesarean convention, I was looking around and like I was seeing people with families, and the joy that I was getting just looking at a kid right now. And you know how I am, Tom. You guys all know how I am with kids. They're like a gift from God. And when I see how parents look at them, even when it's a hard struggle, and even when it's difficult, now I'm at the point, Pat, where I'm like, I want that. I want that, and I want it sooner than later.
You're also a young 46.
Thanks, Tom.
And you're driven, and you're making a determination that I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make it work.
You're lobbying for that 28-year-old Assyrian.
Yes,
I like
yes,
what you did.
yes.
Adam,
I
go
like
ahead.
that.
That was a good play right
Thanks, Tom.
This is sort of a question of our time, whether it's a men in this case or women. In human history, the whole conversation of should I have kids or not have kids, it hasn't been this much out there. It's now becoming the question of our age. I mean, how many countries do we see declining birth rates, including the United States?
Yeah.
So we can look all over the world, but I tend to always say, all right, how does this affect America? And, you know, I'm going through this as we speak. So is Vinny. It's the whole conversation that we have, which I really enjoy because it helps growth, and it really makes me think the number one question, who do you want to be? And, you know, the question that I'm grappling with is, am I more selfish? Am I more selfless? Where does it take? Where do I need to be? Where am I in this map? These are questions that you have to ask as a person. And I've gotten very clear that 1,000,000% want to have kids. Without a doubt.
But you don't want to raise them. You just want to have them.
Well, I want to do the John Cena thing, make a ton of money, and then just, you know, maybe I'll have Vinny Chess feed him. You never know.
Yeah. Yep.
But, you know, what I will say about John Cena is he seems to be pretty comfortable with his decision. Do your thing, bro. I've seen Bill Maher be very comfortable with his decision. He seems to be living a very enjoyable yet selfish life.
I think they're different. I do think those two are different. I think Bill is comfortably selfish, and he doesn't give a shit what you think about it.
Right.
I don't know if John Cena is he likes entertaining. He likes, being around people. He likes, contributing, giving back. He gives that vibe that he likes doing it. But there's a couple things you got to be thinking about this. So, when he's like, I'm super competitive, and as a highly competitive person, you're what? What were the two words he said? Stubborn and selfish, right?
Selfish.
Okay. So, in other words, what he's saying to me is, he's saying, I don't think you can have it all. That's all I hear in what he's saying there. I don't think you can have it all, right? Trump won in politics, won in business, won on TV, and has how many kids? 5 kids. And their kids are good kids. I mean, you don't see a lot of drama with their kids. His kids are doing good things, right? Michael Jordan was the greatest of all time, and he still had kids. You can go to Musk, who runs God knows how many businesses. You can go to
got 12
the
kids.
Walton family. You can go to some of these guys that are the greatest at what they do. So there is a limiting belief about the fact that if you have kids, you're going to have to lose other areas in your life. I think that I don't know how much truth there is behind that. Of course, there's a part of it you're going to have to do. But if you go Google the following, Rob, John Cena's relationship with his father, right? And Vinny said this. John Cena's relationship with his father. And with father, just take his out. Yeah, John Cena's relationship with father, right there. Zoom in. John Cena rarely addresses it, but he shares a fractured relationship with his father. A 16-time has not been able to make up for the fact that his dad didn't believe in him, so he quit his job to indulge in bodybuilding in 1998 and get into professional wrestling. I mean, look, when you have an example like that and there's the fear and the pain, you don't want to go through it. But I can tell you, go back to the numbers you showed, Rob, the one that Adam was asking you. There you go. Look at this here. Rob, Tom, look at this. In 1963, the global fertility rate was 5.3. In 92 was 3. In 2021 is 2.3. Okay, and you can see where is 1 to 1.9. Look at U.S. We're at 1.6 right now. Okay,
blue means you're having babies. Red or pink
meaning
means
Africa's
not
on
really
fire,
yes.
Middle East on fire.
Yep.
Right, even some part of Central America, South America on fire. But when you look at zoom in to see what the super red are. I know Japan is 0.7. So if you zoom in, what is that? Is that that's not cute? What island
It
is
should be
it?
Korea and Singapore.
Right. I think, can you go on a red and see what the red is, or it doesn't let you do it? No, it doesn't let you do it.
do that.
Yeah, Japan is at 0.7%, and they have a sexless society. But the idea is, are we having fewer kids, Tom, because we're becoming more selfish? Are we having fewer kids because people are living more for themselves? Are we having fewer kids because it's harder? Are we having fewer kids because it's harder? Are we having fewer kids because there's this big LGBTQ movement going on? Why are we having fewer kids than we did just 50, 60 years ago?
What I say, well, first of all, I look at that map there, and you could probably overlay the same map of what part of the world doesn't have cable. You can see.
That's a good point.
Take a look. There it is.
Or Netflix.
Africa doesn't have cable or Netflix.
Yeah.
They're doing it themselves. There are three things that I see going on. Two big ones and then a basket of little things. The big one is I think people are living for themselves and they want to do all these things, and children are a time issue and a responsibility issue. The next one is expense. They're expensive, and people know they're expensive, and they think about their parents making ends meet, and then they think about what they're going to do and are more expensive. Those are the two big ones. And then there's a basket of smaller ones that tough people don't buy into. Oh, do you think it would be hard to have kids today? Would you and Kim think twice about kids because of what's happened to schools? No. We would be figuring out ways around it exactly the way we did. So I'm not worried about LGBTQ and invading the school and making that life part of it hard for me. No, sorry. What about with modern day social media and everything? That makes it difficult. No, that's my responsibility as a parent. But people living for themselves, yes. And people looking at the responsibility and the expense, yes, those are having direct impacts.
I used to say...
Now, China had a one-child federal program.
Right. I used to give a presentation 20 years ago in 2004. It showed that the average kid you raise from 0 to 18 costs you $245.
Yeah,
right now it's $375.
Yeah, of course.
It's $375,000 to raise a kid. So if you have 3 kids, you need $1 million for 18 years.
Wow. Yeah.
So $1 million divided by 18 years is what? 30, 40, 60. You need roughly $55,000 a year to have 3 kids for 18 years. That's really what.
So when you put one kid,
and that's just the kids.
By the way, when you put it like that, Pat, $375,000. That's why when a kid goes, "Shut up, Dad," you're like, "I will slap the like." That's like your Ferrari telling you to go to hell.
It's $20,000 a year per kid. This is after tax money. So imagine you have to add another 0.25%.
Wow.
Inflation. $20,000. You're talking about $27,000 a year pre-tax. So if you have 3 kids, you need $80,000 a year just for your kids if you have 3 kids.
Yep.
So it is expensive to have kids, but that's not John's problem.
Not
that's
at
the
all.
average person's
0%
problem
John's
to have.
problem.
Yeah, and this kind of goes Go ahead. I'm going to go to the next story.
I was going to add just one thing.
Go ahead.
So Tom touched on it. So the reasons for this, and I kind of boiled it down. For sure, the money is a major factor. Thank you for breaking that down. And then, follow the money. Ultimately it's the woman's decision whether she wants to actually have a kid or not. So in John Cena's situation, his wife is a 35-year-old female engineer.
Shay Shahizadeh. She's born in Iran. She's an engineer. She was in a movie.
Right. So she's going to have a decision in this. So for me, it boils down to...
What do you mean she's going to have a decision in this?
If she wants to have kids, he's probably going to have to take that into consideration. She obviously doesn't.
No. He said, trust me, this guy's an alpha. He's not doing this because of her. Yeah. This is his decision.
Oh, for sure.
Are you kidding me? Like, this is John Cena. He knows who he is. Don't get me wrong. Good for him. Good for his wife. I'm sure they got a great relationship together. Being a Persian girl, he's got to make a lot of money to take care of a Persian girl. It's typically 3-4 times the amount of income you need to make of an average person you date.
Maybe that's why he's worried.
But the point...
That's just makeup.
But that is his decision. And he said, not now, not in the future. He didn't even leave it out that maybe one day I'll change my mind.
Nope.
That's not her. That's him.
It's a weird situation. I have one friend, I'll go super quick. I have one friend who's in his mid-40s that got the snip. Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, he never doesn't have kids. He's like, I've made the decision that I don't like the direction the world is going, so I'm not even trying to do this. It's like, okay, that's a pretty aggressive decision. But a lot of people chase their career. And the rise of modern feminism, we've had this discussion before. So women have to basically make the decision: do I pull over and have kids? Do I focus on my job? Do I focus on my career?
You're married to John Cena.
But that's my point: is that a woman that's married? What is John Cena worth? I'm guessing $100 million, give or take. Money is not $80 million. It's not his big thing. So, but then you have things like $80 million. Then you start, these acronyms: DINKs and SINKs and NEETs. Have you heard of these things?
Be careful with,
you're
one letter away from offending
dual income, no kids.
One letter.
DINKs, dual income, no kids. SINKs, single income, no kids. Then you have thing like NEETs.
Take it easy, Adam.
There it is. Not employed, no education, and no training, NEETs. You have MEEKs, married with kids. You have WEEKs, married, husband works, wife takes care of child. You have all these weird acronyms. Yeah. And what you're losing throughout all this is the traditional nuclear family unit. And I think that's what we're veering away from.
Maybe, would you, if that's a dinkwad, double income, no kids with a dog, what do you call it if it's like a double income, no kids with a cat?
Yeah.
Dink? I don't know. I don't even want to go there because,
twink,
look, folks,
maybe, I don't know.
Whatever you are, whatever you're into, if you're listening to podcasts, someone's going to offend you. Welcome to one of us offending you today. But let me get to the next story.
Yes, sir.
Because I want to, guys, if you're from California, earmuffs for the next 12 minutes. I'm just telling you. Or take a deep breath, okay, and go in on it on the chat. Just trash St. Patrick. I'm sick of your hate for California. Which I wish, if you only knew how much I love California. And maybe one day I'll tell a story about meetings I had in California that I wanted to be involved in helping address some of the issues in California, but that decision was changed, and then we had different things that we did. But let's go through it. California, auto insurance costs set to rise by 54%. News report says this is ABC. Rob, do you have a video on this, or it's like a 23-second video?
I do. I have the newscast where ABC reports on the jumping.
Let's do this. Let's go to my beautiful Ty. Go and play this clip.
By the end of the year, the typical auto insurance policy in California is set to rise by 54%. That's according to a new report by Insurify, compared to 2023 as well. Right now, California's average annual premium is around $1,700, but it's projected to rise to $2,600. The jump due to increasing claims, storm damages, and costly repairs.
By the way, is it Insurify or Insurify?
Insurify.
Why did he say Insurify? Like,
because he's not.
Because he's reading a teleprompter with a bad tie.
That was like a, that was a
Ron Burgundy moment.
That's a Ron Burgundy moment as well. But let's kind of go through this. Forgive this man. By the end of the year, typical auto insurance is going to go up 54%. And by the way, you may ask and say, but that's everywhere. That's everywhere. Look at this right there. Let's break that down. According to a new report published by Insurance Tracker, the cost of full coverage across the U.S. is set to increase 28% during that time period. But some states, including California, are seeing a year-over-year rate hikes of more than 50%. June of 2023, full coverage was $1,666. A month ago or 2 months ago was $2,417. By the end of the year, it's expected in California to be $2,681 in the state of California auto insurance. And meanwhile, folks, insurance carriers are leaving the state. They're flat out sitting there and saying, there is no money to be made in this state. I'm out. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even make sense for us. Geico shut down their 38 office. They're like, we're done. We're out of here. More and more carriers are leaving because the state of California, Tom, are you following how the Department of Insurance is putting in I don't know if you're following the FAIR Act. Are you are you
yeah, I know
fully
what you're
worded in FAIR
about.
Act? Go ahead. Give us a little breakdown of it.
So, the California DOI is basically putting in price controls.
Tom.
Mia.
What's going on here? Go ahead. Go.
Not a man or woman alive doesn't enjoy a delightful coffee.
Right.
No, what the California Insurance Commissioner, the DOI, there is trying to do is is basically price controls, because the insurance carriers are bringing forth fact-based analysis that said the risk of theft in California is higher, so that's loss.
Yep.
But inflation has decimated the labor rate, which has gone up 33%, and parts are up 30%. So, Vinny, that means if your car crashes and I'm your insurance guy, I'll say, hey, pay your $500 deductible, and then I have to pay the rest to the shop, right? But I just have a 30% increase in parts, 35% increase in labor, so that's killing me. So what do I have to do? I have to charge you more.
For every year, not for the
every year, because
does the deductible go up, Tom?
No. Your deductible
Just
stays whatever you want to keep it. And by the way, you probably move your deductible to $2,500, trying to get your insurance down. But now your deductible's higher if you have something. And so what the California DOI is basically trying to do is price controls. And so the California insurances, Pat takes his insurance company, goes to Sacramento, and says, look what's happened to labor, look what's happened to parts, look what happens to risk of theft. Man, I need to raise rates here in California, and not a little bit, because I can't make a good business. No, you are going to be, subject to the FAIR Act, and we're going to control how much you can go up each year. And he said, okay, well, then I need to tell you about the Leave Act. What's that? I'm leaving California and doing more business in Georgia, Florida, and Texas. Have a nice day. And then they're like, the first time it happens, California said, yeah, whatever. But guess what? They keep saying, yeah, whatever, and there's not enough carriers to cover Californians.
And by the way, are you following the dollar amount of the FAIR Act?
No, I've not got into the quantitative.
Okay, so Adam, do you have any thoughts on this before I go into the FAIR Act?
Yeah, of course. I think, one story that comes to mind is we talked about this in 2020 when Biden was proposing certain tax hikes, and it was capital gains and income tax. So follow me for a second.
We're going to get into it. So don't go into capital gains, because that's a separate story. Okay,
I'm staying right here on insurance. Good. But there was a metaphor that you used. You mind if I grab you? And you asked the question, like, at what point, if someone's doing this, poking you, are you like, dude, enough's enough?
That smile is 2 steps away from one of these.
All right, we're going to go there right now?
No.
8 minutes later, he's still pushing you. You're like,
I'm like, what's up, Pat? You want some of this?
Yeah.
But the reality
I'm confused. Are we still on insurance?
How much are Californians going to take is my point. Whether it's taxes, whether it's regulation, whether it's insurance, whether it's crime, whether it's homeless, it just feels like a perpetual hand of the government pushing you. And there's 3 camps. There's the rich people who are like, dude, I got enough money, get the hell out of here. I'm
in the hills.
Elon
I'm in the hills.
Musk,
It doesn't
whatever.
affect me.
But even if you're staying there, you're still dealing with this stuff. All right, I can get out of here. I get enough money. You have the poor who are going nowhere. Right, they're living on welfare. They're living in the government. Like they don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
But then you have these middle class people that are getting squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed. And the biggest fear is like, where's the middle class going in California? Because the insurance, the taxes, the maintenance, whether you're buying a house, whether you're buying a car, all these other factors add up. Nobody's thinking when I get a car, all right, well, insurance. It's like, well, your insurance just went up 50% almost. That's $750 for insurance. That's nationwide. In California, it's $1,000. So then you have to do the math. How much is my income going up? if my income's not going up, how much of these expenses am I just going to be driving to the poorhouse?
Yeah, and can I ask you an honest question? What is the ultimate goal of a mayor, of a governor, of a state like that? And I'm being genuinely, I'm inquisitive. All the crime, Pat, all everything that we're seeing, insurance, people leaving, all that. What is the end goal for this guy? Does he want complete and utter chaos? So we're gonna have to rely on the government. Like what is the goal?
There's when you think about in my opinion,
yeah.
And I want to address that, and then I'm going to go to the Justin story because I want to still address what's going on with California.
Yes.
But the job of a politician is one, to be great on camera, okay, in their mind.
Yeah.
One, to be able to spin and get out of when you're being cornered. So that's a skill set some of them have, some of them don't have. Then the next one is your job is to make the city, the state a better place. And the way you go about making a place a better place is either the government knows what's best for you or you know what's best for you. And that's the battle, okay? And in this case, in the state of California, it's filled with people like him, Newsom, people like Kamala, people like Nancy Pelosi, who think they know what's best for you, right? You saw the George Clooney, getting criticized, the open letter, and says, hey, you honestly haven't addressed this thing about Biden, but I got to tell you, I think the right person we have to recognize is his selflessness, because the only person we can compare Biden to is George Washington. When he said that, I threw up a little. I don't know if it was pretty bad. We were at Angelo's when I saw this clip. And I feel bad because it came up a little bit.
Probably because they're close to the same age is probably what he meant, wasn't it?
But more importantly, when you're seeing this, and then you see Nancy Pelosi on the back end, she's the one that had to get him to want to step out. But these are the people that think they know what's best for Biden. They know what's best for you. They know what's best for everybody. Watch this here, Rob. Pull up the article about the FAIR Act. This is, again, state of California comes out with this plan called the FAIR Plan Insurance. The FAIR Plan Insurance is for people who don't get homeowners insurance coverage. By the way, you know what percentage of people are not getting homeowners insurance coverage? Let me tell you how many people are getting declined, okay? California Association of Realtors 2023 Annual Housing Market Survey found that nearly 7% of real estate deals fall through in the state of California out of escrow for one reason. You know why? Because the buyers couldn't afford the insurance. So imagine you're trying to buy a house. You're like, oh my God, babe, we got approved. This is so awesome. You're in escrow. Hey, you got to get homeowners insurance. Awesome. How much is homeowners insurance? $13,800. What?
Wow.
I can't, babe. What are we going to? So then they're like, oh, we can't afford it. 7% are bailing. That's 1 out of 14. Think about 1 out of 14 deals. You can't afford to buy the house because
you can't pay for insurance.
Of homeowners insurance. So then, California has 40 million people living there. 55% of adult income earners that own a house. But when you go through this, they came up with this FAIR Act. Rob, can you pull up the FAIR Act? Here's how the FAIR Act works. Okay, the FAIR Act is built for the people who don't get qualified for homeowners insurance. The state comes and says, don't worry, we got you. So the FAIR Act, they say it's not a government-backed program. It is financially supported by California's private home insurance companies, not taxpayers. You know what this means? So let me tell you what this means. So companies such as State Farm, Allstate, okay, who else you got? I'll give you a few names. USAA, Travelers, Nationwide, Chubb. They're forced to be a part of this. So it's like pay for play. You want to do insurance in our state? Guess what? You have to be part of the government's FAIR Act, and you take the risk, not the state.
That's not fair.
So watch what happens. They now have 408,000 policyholders, okay, an increase of 164% since 2019. Rob, can you go to the dollar amount of how much it's increased in the last 12 months? If you go right there, zoom in right there. You have it right there at the top paragraph. Zoom in, look at this. As of June 2024, it is now $392 billion in dwelling coverage exposures, up from $284 billion just a year ago. By the way, that liability, you know who it's on? Who's that liability on? On USAA, on Farmers, on Travelers, on Nationwide, on Chubb, on Allstate, State Farm. Let me ask you a question. Who do they owe an answer to? These companies, who do they owe an answer to? To California, to their shareholders, to their employees, to their investors? Who do they owe, who are they being held accountable to?
They're shareholders and investors, number one, by definition.
So the shareholder and investor looks at the chart and they go like this. Hey, can I ask you a question? Yeah. Why the hell are we agreeing to this? Well, the alternative is California won't let us do business there. They're forcing us to be a part. But you want me to lose this much money and this much liability without making any money? Yes. What do you guys suggest we do? Leave the freaking biggest state in America? Yes.
Yep.
I never thought about it that way. Guys, guess what? Call California. We're done. We're out. Are you serious? Yes. Trust me, California will come back. Don't be surprised when these guys are going to be like, hey, California, Tom, how much longer can they go with this? This is one state, by the way.
Yeah, this is one state. And by the way, this goes on the heels of, Rob, look up CARP, C-A-A-R-P, California Assign Risk Plan. This is for the motorists, Pat, who have 2 DUIs but still have to drive to work, and now they get their license back. And it's the same thing. Drivers that can't get insurance, they force the insurance companies to be part of it.
So again, by the way, do you know what State Farm did just 2 months ago on July 3rd? Do you know what State Farm on July 3rd? Are you following this number here? Watch this. State Farm announced they are not renewing 30,000 homeowners insurance policies. Let me say that one more time.
Yep.
State Farm is one insurance company of many. In the state of California, they said, imagine you own a house. You get a letter from State Farm that tells you, hey, Vinny, sorry, we're no longer covering your home anymore.
So at that point, I have to find another insurance?
Go find another one.
Jeez.
Yeah, they do that 30,000 times. It happened to me when I bought the boat. Chubb dropped my boat insurance policy. But do you know why?
Why?
Because they saw a video of me being the captain of the boat on social when one of the Sam or Mario or somebody posted it. I got a picture with a link to the video saying, you're the captain, we officially drop your insurance. They didn't drop it because of the state. They dropped it because they said, you're not the captain. You don't know how to go out and be the captain of a 48-foot. These guys are sending it because California is forcing them to send this. So how much longer is this going to last for the state of California? I don't know, but I think California policies are hurting middle Americans. Their policies are destroying business owners. They're thinking the margins of what it is to be. It's just the same thing as what Kamala Harris is trying to do with the food price gouging, right? Yep. We were talking about this last week. When you think about like Publix here, or Albertsons, or Vaughn's, give me the names.
Ralph's.
Kroger's, Ralph's. What are the names are there, Rob? Adam, I know you don't know.
Publix, Winn-Dixie,
Trader Joe's, Trader Joe's.
Albertsons.
Well, Albertson and Kroger is the one they're trying to merge, and the Federal Trade Commission is saying no, right?
By the way, do you know what the margins are for supermarkets? Like if a supermarket does $10 million a year, what do you think their profit margin is?
It was
10%.
How much?
2%.
Are you ready for this, Rob? Just actually Google this.
I'm gonna say
I want you to Google this.
Can I guess, Pat? 2?
Supermarket profit margins. You said what? You
2%.
said it's 1.6%. Wow. You're right there. Okay, right there. Look at this. The range of 1 to 3. It's 1.6%. So you know how much money they make?
Very low.
Do you know how much money they make on $10 million? A supermarket sells $10 million of stuff. You know how much they make? Net profits? $160,000.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Who the hell wants to be in that business? And Kamala Harris wants to say, we're going to put some restrictions on. Dude, the shit doesn't work. Get the hell out of the way. What are you doing? This is their problem. They think they can fix everything with more regulation. Today on CNBC this morning, I'm watching these guys that are building homes, like home builders. Do you know the top 4 cities, I believe, that are building the most homes? I want to say 4 out of 7 were all in the state of Texas. You know why? Because Texas gives the fastest zoning permits. So they move the fastest.
And inspections.
We're in Oakland Park. We've been trying to put a gate up here for 3 years.
Since I've been here.
Rob, how long have we been trying to put this gate up?
Since we moved in before that.
For 3 years, Oakland Park still hasn't given us a permit. Who the hell wants to do business in Oakland Park?
Yeah.
Nobody. If your zoning permits are so slow, it's a freaking gate.
Yeah.
But in Austin, Dallas, Houston, go. California, well, let me think about it. What about this and what about that? Dude, I'm out. I don't want to deal here anymore. You force good people that are business owners out. That's all these people are doing when it comes down to right there, the top 4 cities building the most homes in California. Houston, Dallas, Atlanta's one. I think Austin was another one. And there's one other city in Texas.
Phoenix.
Keep going down. So that's the 4.
San Antonio.
Austin, Nashville, boom.
Yeah, Austin. So 4 out of 7 is Texas. Dude, I mean, why are they doing this? Because they're just giving permits like this. They're giving permits. So builders are like, let's go there. We can build it up. And the lady says back town, 40 years ago, they used to say, when you asked the builder to build a house, you could expect to have your house within 6 to 8 weeks, they were saying. That was kind of weird. Small houses, not big houses. So the thing was fast. Says now you're waiting 6 to 12 months. Who the hell wants to wait that long? So this is all because of regulators getting in the way and slowing shit down.
And there's a common thread between entrepreneurs in general. The uniform general feeling and sentiment is like, get out of my way. Let me go create. Let me go do something. And then when you run into red tape and you run into bureaucracy, even Bill Maher on his show is like, I'm trying to build a shed outside. It's taken me 5 years. Yet he doesn't get to the next step where it's like, yeah, because you're in California. Yeah. And it would seem to me, Pat, you would know better than me, California just has one simple problem, and that's a math problem. They just think that the government is going to fix all. Let's just raise the minimum wage. Yeah. The one Congresswoman, Barbara Lee, I believe, she's like, I think we should increase the minimum wage from the fight from 15 to the fight to 50. Jeez. Like she said this, she proposed this. That's $100,000 a year is a minimum wage.
And you know how the
math just doesn't work, ladies.
Exactly. You know how the story ends. The story ends where a bunch of insurers now bail out of California, leaving fewer insurers at gunpoint that have to do the special policies. And so when they go to the insurance commissioner and saying, look, I know you're trying to put us in the FAIR plan. There's only 4 of us left. And I need a price increase. And you know what the state will say then? They'll say yes, because they can't lose the last 4 that are the last 4 insurers actually standing to do it. So they'll lose those. Guess what? Do you remember what the stats were? What happened to the Affordable Care Act on its 3rd anniversary? Remember what happened?
What happened, Tom?
The premium started going up 20% a year because that was the deal that the health insurers that said, listen, okay, Obama, we'll keep it frozen for 3 years. Remember that? And then you show the sudden spike.
It's like a balloon
because it was artificial from the government. That's what's about to happen here with the last one standing.
And by the way, Tom makes such a great point. You know what happens when that takes place? Guess who California, Obama, and all these politicians then blame when the rates increase?
The corporations, they're greedy.
Insurance companies. Yeah. That's what they do. And this keeps playing and playing. And by the way, watch this guy. Regular guy, Justin Trudeau, is campaigning, okay? And he's going out there, this steel worker, simple guy. This is a very simple guy. Justin's going out there trying to win over these steel workers with donuts. And then he runs into one guy that doesn't give a shit about donuts and just calls his ass out and walks out. By the way, this... Canada right here is exactly the same as California, except maybe, I don't know if I could say worse or less, but it's exactly like California. So Justin Trudeau, think of him as Newsom's first cousin. Go ahead, Rob, play this clip.
Beta.
Hey, I'm good. Just one of
He doesn't shake his hand.
Well, we got donuts over here if you want to thank you for your hard work.
I can bring some for my kids here.
Okay. The 25% tariffs we just brought in on Chinese skills to help you out.
That's going to keep my job, yeah. What about the 40% taxes I'm paying, and I don't have a doctor?
The $400 million that we invested in the card means you're going to have a job for
I think you're only here for another year. We won't see you around probably another year.
That's what elections are for.
That's right.
And I look forward to everyone exercising the right to vote.
Yep.
And the basic choice, we're going to invest in you and your job.
I don't believe you for a second.
Dental care? Do you know anyone who got dental care?
Yeah, I pay for it myself.
Okay.
We're like 3 years behind.
You have a job and coverage?
Yeah,
but we got
4 people
seniors.
in my family. Every time we go for a dental visit, it's costing me about $50 in my pocket per person.
Okay.
Why? I have a good job. You're not really doing anything for us, Justin.
Well, actually, we just invested so 500,000 people who hadn't been to the dentist got to go to the dentist over the past few months.
Probably like my neighbor that doesn't go to work because she's lazy.
She
doesn't go to work. She lives the same life I do.
Most Canadians try to stick up for each other, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
Yeah.
Good luck and prepare your family.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right.
He doesn't want to shake his hand. Like a G.
Right, the other guys they got the donuts. Excellent.
They got the donuts.
He is such a fake.
The other guys got the donuts. Excellent.
But by the way, that guy, that steel worker, I don't know what his name is. I'd love to call him by his first name if I knew what the steel worker's name is and give him credit. He's not a politician. Right. He doesn't look like an MBA student. He doesn't look like a guy that started a business and sold it for $6 million. He looks like the average voter who loves his country, loves his family. He said 4, which means what? The average husband, wife, and 2 kids. He said, I pay $50 and we haven't been able to go for 3 years. The neighbor that's a lazy person is able to go, but I'm the one working and you're doing this to me. No respect, walks off. You think, by the way, say we start a city. Say we start a new country. Would you take that guy to be one of your citizens in your state? Sure. Would you like that guy to be one of your citizens in your state?
Absolutely. It's my first round draft pick.
All day long. Come on here, buddy. And we're not going to do 40%. Look at this. It's ridiculous. What is the guy's name?
They don't list it yet.
Man, looking. I wish we could see the guy. Anyways, he deserves a lot of credit for being straight up. But there's a lot. I went to a restaurant. I don't want to give the restaurant's name because, Tom, you know what the restaurant's name is. I'll text you. So I don't even want to give the city's name, but it's in this area. Matter of fact, I'll text you to kind of get an idea what we're talking about. So you all have been at this restaurant with me, okay? And it's not Angelo. So I don't want you to jump to conclusion, go to Angelo. But I'm out there having dinner with the kids. And we go there. And when we walk in, this is a high-end restaurant that's been in its location for 30 plus years. And I say, wow, this place is pretty empty today. And, that's kind of weird. So I get up. Every time I sit down, I go and wash my hands. And I always look around to see what's going on in the place. I come back, I sit down. And then I get up and I'm like, Tico, let's go for a walk, you and I. We go out to go on a walk we do our own thing and we have fun. And, then I come back and then the manager comes and sees me. He says, how you doing? I said, I'm doing really good. He's been taking care of us for years. I said, what's the, how are things? How's business? And he just straight up goes into it. He says, I'm down 13% 2 weeks in a row.
Whoa.
He says, look, I need you to keep coming to this place. Yeah. By the way, he's not saying it sarcastically.
He's being
I swear to God, he's saying it like we really need you guys to keep coming because we really need the business as a local restaurant. I'm like, I said, why do you think this? He says, it's so weird. He says, I've been here for God knows how many years. I've never seen a drop-off like this. I said, it's not like people are back to work. They're going back to school. Vacation time is done with. He says, yeah, I know. We're just not getting the traffic that we're getting. I said, well, if you're losing 13% and you're the best of the best in the area, your competitors are probably losing 20, 30%. Prices are going up. Menu prices are going up. How are we going to get people? There's stories about how many restaurants are shutting down in Miami, let alone nationwide, that these guys are going through. So this concept of, and Kamala's solution is what? Or Justin's solution is what? Hey, we'll give you $25,000 down payment for your house, right? Hey, we're going to do a fair act right there. Look at this. Their chain is closing down. Buffalo Wild Wings, 60 locations. IHOP, 100 locations. Pizza Hut, closed locations. Red Lobster, 99, 17 in Florida. Hooters, devastating. TGI Friday, Tom is emotional that they closed 36 restaurants, including 2 in Florida. Outback Steakhouse, 41 underperforming. Applebee's plans to close 25 to 35. And by the way, these are restaurants you know the names of. How about the restaurants that you've been going to in your city, local city for years, who are family-owned restaurants that maybe they have 1 location. Maybe they got 3, 5, 10. How about those guys? And then customers go in and they're like, wait, this steak used to be $38. Why is it now $52? Because I don't have a choice, bro. I don't have a choice. What do you want me to do? I just got a minute this morning from a guy that runs a cell phone shop, and he says Verizon dropped commissions from 60% to 30%. Verizon dropped commissions 30%. Why would Verizon drop commissions 30%? It's not like they're saying we'll drop it because we don't want to pay you anymore. We don't want any more business. It's because they can't afford it. They can't afford it. In the insurance business, if you don't go raise money when interest rates are high, when a lot of business is being sent your way, you can't afford insurance. So you increase underwriting guidelines to make it tougher. That's your way of saying, I don't want more business. And a lot of people are feeling it today. And, the ways you can solve this thing is to force people to not raise prices or force people to do certain things. Or you can simply fix the economy, put it back into the people's hands, let them do their part. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris is sitting there saying the following. She's saying, where's that story? Here it is. Why Kamala Harris's approach to capital gains is generating so much controversy. Yahoo Finance, okay? Capital gains. Tom, I'm going to come to you first with this, and Adam, I'm coming to you next after that. And then Kamala Harris's endorsement of Biden's plan to tax unrealized gains, targeting households with net worths of $100 million has sparked a significant controversy, with critics like Musk claiming it leads to breadlines and ugly shoes. The plan would impose a 25% minimum tax on income, including unrealized gains, but would only impact the top 0.3% of households. The proposed changes would raise the capital gains tax rate for the richest Americans, aligning it with their overall tax rate, potentially increasing it from 20% to 39.6% for those earning over $1 million annually. Critics argue this could distort the economy, with the tax foundation labeling it a complicated tax on a narrow segment of high-earning households in a way that's never been tried. This is Yahoo Finance. Tom, thoughts on the story?
I was unable to get the link for our good friend Rob, but I'll tell you something.
Tom, do you want some tea?
Want some chai?
No, on a serious note, do you want me to get you some tea? I'll have Mickey bring you some tea.
Thank you.
Okay. Mickey, can you grab some tea for Tom? Go for it, Tom.
Yeah, so what was interesting, a link that I was trying to refine, but I was reading that a plumber with 4 trucks probably grossed $1.25 million a year, because they make about $300,000 per truck in total things during the year. So when you take a look at this tax, it sure sounds big, but guess what? That's a small business. You're hitting a lot of small businesses in there where they say, oh, it's going to impact the top 0.3% of households. Would you, if you take, 330 million people and take the top 3%, those are business owners that are employing 40% of the total. Do you follow that?
Yeah.
You're hitting the business owners, so you're hitting the 40%, you just don't know it. And now you're impacting their ability to buy more trucks, which helps the economy because someone sold those trucks and built those trucks. It impacts their ability to give raises. It impacts their ability to expand their business. So what they're going downstream and thinking, wow, look at this lake full of money. Let's take it. But they don't understand how the lake's getting filled by all the streams of productivity and small business. This is wrong-headed, tax the rich because they think the rich are there, will continue to be there. As Margaret Trudeau said, taxing other people's money only works as long as those other people still have money.
Is that Margaret Trudeau or Margaret Thatcher?
Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, you said Trudeau. That's
I said Trudeau?
You're still.
No, Margaret Trudeau.
How was your brain?
Sorry, I'm
still on Justin.
Go ahead, Adam.
Margaret Trudeau was, a wild woman in Canada. Was the estranged wife of Pierre Trudeau, which is Justin's dad. Yeah. No, this was Margaret Thatcher talking about the socialists that were trying to do this in the late 80s and 90s.
Got it. Adam, go ahead. Tom, we got it. Go for it.
I mean, the whole thing, like, for instance, Vinny, do you know what capital gains is and unrealized gains and realized gains? It's okay to be like, dude, I have no clue. This is something that I wasn't too familiar with when I got into the financial markets and started making money and having taxes and then started investing. It's like, what is this language?
In the gym, I understand like non-realized gains are the guys that walk around like this.
Exactly.
We have
gains,
ILS.
exactly. So
Rob knows.
Actually, let me try to make an analogy here. So you're working out in the gym, but you have your shirt on.
Yes.
And, the gains is when you take your shirt off and the ladies are like, oh my God, But if you don't take your shirt off, nobody knows what you got going on.
That's not unrealized gains.
What a weird analogy, but here's what it is.
That's a terrible analogy.
But let me
explain what it means.
Let me try to do, but this guy threw a gym analogy.
I was like, well, you're doing triceps, but you're back.
I mean, when I went to Vinny on a financial
Where's Mickey with the tea?
Why did I go here? But the bottom line is it comes down to potential.
No, do me a favor though. Can you you're making a very good point, Adam. Explain in 15 seconds what is unrealized gains.
So it's essentially the only time that you actually have a profit or a gain is when you actually sell. And then it's quote unquote realized. Gotcha. So for instance, if you buy a stock for $10 and it goes up to $12, you have a $2 gain on paper. But it's only realized if you sell it for $12 and you pay maybe taxes on the $2 is how that is.
Because it could go down tomorrow.
Exactly.
More.
So until you actually quote unquote lock it in, it's unrealized. Gotcha. So whether you sell your stock portfolio, whether you sell your house, there's also in the insurance building, like the insurance, the inside buildup, the cash value. That's been a whole thing.
Explain now the unrealized gains. So for example, you have a business that, let's just say you have a business that's worth $100 million, okay? And, you have never taken the money off the table. It's paper wealth, okay?
Exactly.
It's paper wealth. But now you have to pay 25% on the $100 million that you've never taken out.
Yes.
Did you understand what just happened?
But then walk me through this. Okay, let's say they just start taxing unrealized gains, which is obviously something that you're not in favor of. But then you're getting taxed. But then when you sell the asset, you're also getting taxed. So it's almost a double taxation at that point, no?
And then whoever you give the money to, they have to pay taxes on it. So this tax situation,
it's just getting deeper and deeper.
Yeah. So and by the way, go ahead, Tom.
There's a hidden side to it too. When you hear, I think everyone reads casually headlines about a unicorn. Oh, another unicorn from Silicon Valley. They're worth $1 billion because they just got investment, and the investor said we're investing
on paper.
Right. So now, what are all the startups going to do? You're going to cripple startups.
Yep.
Now this is catastrophic, is what this is. Okay, catastrophic. What this is, if they do it. And by the way, so here's the other part. What's the likelihood she will do that? Do you know what's the likelihood that this will pass? What do you think is the likelihood that the unrealized gains will pass?
Not highly likely.
Let me tell. Go ahead, Tom.
0 with a Republican Senate.
I think it's 0. Period. Let me explain why. Okay. Let me explain why. So, look, here's how this works. I remember there was a guy I was working with, never liked doing this. He would come and say, hey, I'm going to come and piss off your office. You come and piss off my office. And then, let's make money, but let's just say stuff about me. And my guys will get pissed and I'll say stuff about you. And I'm like, yeah, you know what, though? It's always better if the feeling of wanting to beat that person is real. Then you really are going to rally behind the group instead of faking it, right? And then it became a training for this guy. He started training his people how to get others to be pissed off at each other. I'm like, dude, some things are caught, not taught, right? Caught, not taught. More is caught than taught in parenting. And more is caught than taught in anything you do. You're going to catch what the person's doing, then that person's teaching you because you're catching what they're doing, right? Okay. So here's how this works. My opinion. Hey, guys, look, we have to get the poor to believe that we're going after the rich. Now, I need $100 million from you, $100 million from you, $100 million from you. Look, I'm going to get up and say this. Of course, I'm never going to pass this, okay? It'll never happen. I would never do that to you guys. I know how important you are, but that has to be part of my campaign. So when I get up there, don't worry, I'm not going to do any of it. Let me just say it, okay? But you make the phone call first. So then you hit the stage, and then what do? All these rich billionaires and the Republicans, all they care about the billionaires and the millionaires and the billionaires and the right? Guess who gets more money from the billionaires, the left or the right? It's not even close. It's the left over the right. They get way more money from billionaires on the left than they do on the right. It's not, by the way, it's pretty much 4-1 in many cases, 3-1 in many cases. So you mean to tell me like that video of Chris Cuomo going at the DNC and saying, look at all these guys at the top, pay to play. You think they're going to do anything to hurt these guys? They're not going to do any of it. But deep down inside, they would love, Tom, this would be like porn on steroids for the people on the left who are politicians who have never built a business for themselves and know how much painful it is to grow something. They will love nothing more to pass the unrealized gains. But the guys they're getting money from, they would be taking money from them. Why would they ever do that? But they're going to manipulate the average American, and the average American is going to say, yeah, when they think rich, they think Republicans. When they think billionaires, they think Republicans. That's all they think about.
Well, just remember one thing at the DNC. Do you remember the ridiculous juxtaposition of Bernie Sanders? We got to tax the billionaires. And the next speaker was literal billionaire Governor J.B. Pritzker. That's like, I'm a billionaire. I'm like,
and I love my life.
This is the come to Jesus moment that the Democrats are going to have. It's like, on one side, you have the progressive wing who is just tax it up the gazoo. But then you have quote unquote moderate Democrats who are actual billionaires. Here to look at the story right here.
By the way, Jon Stewart did a great skit on this.
It doesn't add up.
Yeah. But Pac, as you go, who is, cause I and not to take a jab at her, I don't think she's that bright at all. Who is telling her to say these talking points? Who is telling Kamala Harris? Who in the Democratic deep state establishment, whatever you want to call it, who is telling her these are going to be your talking?
Vinny, are you assuming that these are not all her policies, that she sat down and wrote these all out? She knows this word by word, letter by letter? Come on, man.
Well, play this and then I'm going to go answer Vinny.
He's not going to perform for the Klan Foundation anytime.
It's amazing.
But that's the lunacy of it.
This is when he was good. When he was like this, because he did this to Nancy Pelosi's face one time 12 years ago.
Great point when he didn't care and it wasn't so one-sided. I think that's old school.
The ultimate sad point is, what were we just talking about? Government policy, liberal policy in California, and what's happening to real Californians, car insurance, homeowners insurance, and the price of living in California, let alone property taxes. But remember, once upon a time, it wasn't Omar and it wasn't AOC that was the most liberal individual in the Senate or House. Once upon a time, the person that sat atop the most liberal senator in Washington was Kamala Harris, coming out of the Berkeley Willie Brown and...
Watch your language.
Yeah, Willie Brown.
And no, she was the machine, part of the machine that was Willie Brown, Nancy Pelosi,
his machine,
and that Gavin Newsom.
Let me just say one thing about...
but you were going to answer that question.
No, but think about it. She's been very left. I think her
I don't
campaign,
care about his machine, but Vinny had a question.
I had a question.
We brought you tea, Tom. Please drink the tea. You're concerning me. You put some stuff in it to make you happy. Go ahead.
I know for a fact, we all know what the process was. Debate, Biden done, Kamala propped her. Who is telling her in the financial mindset, who would tell her to say something like that, knowing that nobody's going to like it, nobody's going to approve it? Who's giving her those talking points?
Well, listen, you have to know, when it comes down to economy, she knows nothing about this. She doesn't know much about the economy, okay?
Yeah.
And her strategy is more, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm speaking.
Yeah.
Okay. She's done that so many times. She did it one time to a guy when in Congress. She's asking him a question, and he's trying to answer. It's another one. And he's trying to answer, and she goes, "I'm sorry, I was speaking." And this is I don't understand this move. By the way, she's gonna do it to Trump. And just watch for this one, guys. Next week when we have the election night, we'll be together. You'll see. Can you pull up the "I'm speaking" right there with Pence, right there, top right, top right.
Mr. Vice.
Watch this. Just watch what she did.
He's sleeping.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
Watch the head.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
It's extremely unlikable.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
Oh, cool. So am I. Thanks.
You don't mind letting me
We're both speaking here.
We can then have a conversation. Okay?
Please.
Okay. I'm trying to answer you now.
The people deserve a straight answer.
I will not sit here and be lectured by the Vice President. I'm speaking. Yeah, I'm about to.
But she's got some policies that are hers. I saw something with her and who was the guy that used to be very heavy and now he's super skinny, about to disappear? What was the guy's name? The guy on TV.
Al Sharpton?
Al Sharpton. Oh. So she's talking to Al Sharpton. Typing.
He's a puppet.
We didn't set that up. That was all the description.
When is this, Rob? What date is this?
It doesn't say September 1st is when this was posted.
Okay, watch this. She agrees to reparation yesterday. Watch this. Go ahead.
The area of reparations for descendants of Africans enslaved.
Watch.
If you elected president, would you sign that bill if it came
across your
desk?
When I am elected president, I will sign that bill.
By the way, you can pause it. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
I have no idea.
She said she listened to Tupac in college. Bro, Tupac was 10 years old. If you were listening to Tupac in college, you're a pedophile. Like, what are you doing listening to Tupac in college? Like, to some of the stuff that they say, yeah, look at this. She went to college 86 to. She says the weirdest things sometimes just because she's trying to win them over. You got the clip, right?
Did you guys hear her? She's speaking in front of a white audience, and then she's speaking in front of a predominantly black audience. She changes her accent to be like...
This is on the same day.
This is on the same day. Listen to this.
Go ahead, Rob.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave.
Yep.
You better thank a union member for vacation time.
Some extra eyes in there.
You better think.
Because what we know.
By the way, she
Where's the other one?
Yeah, and then the other one, Rob. This is. But by the way, there are white people that have listened.
They're going to grab lunch, 2 drinks, and head to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, watch this. Pittsburgh.
Thank unions for sick leave. Thank unions for paid family leave.
Very different.
Thank unions for your vacation time.
And the other one, she sounded like, remember in Coming to America, Arsenio Hall, when he's a preacher, he's like, I don't know what y'all came to do, but I came to praise his name. That's who she's become. Like, and people aren't noticing that. And by the way, she wants to give reparations to African Americans. She's not African American. But I don't know why people don't get it. She's Indian and Jamaican. You understand?
Did you tell her she's left out of that?
She doesn't.
To me,
did anybody give her the send it like, hey, Kamala, you're not going to get any of that money, by the way.
To me, the whatever color identity is the least of my issues. For me, it's going to always come down to the math. Yeah. Because what I've realized, and we all remember Bernie in 2015, 2016, there's a lot of people out there, I like this. I like what he has to say. All right, yeah, make them pay more. I like that. Okay, great. These guys are billionaires. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. I need a little bit more money. Medicare for all. That's all. Sounds good. Okay, the Green New Deal. Who doesn't like the earth? It all sounds good. But then just like a check at an expensive restaurant when there's the girls there, or sometimes I know Pat's going to make a joke right here, someone has to pay the bill. And then you never see the girls chip in. Maybe this is me just being a little putting my business out there, but it's always going to come down to a guy being like, all right, well, so who ordered the 7 shots? What? All right, you got 12 appetizers. How'd this bill become $1,000 for dinner? This is what's going on. They make all these proposals that sound good. And they're like, how are we going to fund $3 trillion for the Green New Deal? Mm-hmm. We're already drowning in debt as a country. So they're just going to keep saying it. But then when you actually do the math, just like we discussed in California, it's like, how are you going to fund all this? And the problem is you need a sort of an SOB like Trump to be like, yeah, we're not doing any of that crap because we're broke. We have no money. And until we actually get our money right and balance our budget, we're not doing any of this nonsense.
And I wish people would, you're so right. And I wish people would do a simple history lesson. Just go back and look up Greece, the country of Greece, and what they called austerity, where they notified people, man, we are so broke, we're beyond broke, and we have to do 2 things. You have to work 2 years longer to get their equivalent of Social Security, remember this? And it will be cut by 7% when you get there. Wait a minute, I gotta work 2 years longer for 7% less? And then they said, wait, we checked the spreadsheet. It's actually 3 years longer for 12% less. And it ended up where the people protested and there were riots. That's what happened. There is an end game where the spreadsheet breaks.
Yeah, and by the way, Rob, do you have that clip of Nancy Pelosi sitting across from Jon Stewart where she cast a vision of what they want to do with all these illegal immigrants in America, and she doesn't hold back at all? I mean, she's just like straight up saying it to Bill Maher to his face. Watch this. Go ahead, Rob.
The California lawmakers just passed a law. It hasn't been signed by Governor Newsom, but giving government assistance to undocumented immigrants to buy houses. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a different place than the Democratic Party used to be on immigration, is it not? I'm not going to say that's what the country's going to do, but that's certainly where California is.
Well, let me just say, immigration had always been a bipartisan issue. I refer you to
but not free houses.
Well, that's not free housing. It's the American dream being available to more people. But understand this about immigration. The best speech on immigration was by President Ronald Reagan. This is the last speech I will make as President of the United States. I want to communicate a message to the country I love.
Right.
And he talked about the Statue of Liberty and the beacon of hope it is to the world, and what America was preeminent in the world because our door was always open. And we will cease to be preeminent
$200 billion
when we shut the door. Now, I don't do justice to the great communicator.
And watch
Google
the
it.
applause
It's a
coming.
fabulous speech. And George Herbert Walker Bush continued in that respect for the diversity of America and the rest. California's always in the lead. Maybe others will follow that lead, but that's up to those states. But we are very blessed here with beautiful diversity.
So you'd vote for this law?
Excuse me?
So you'd vote for this law?
Watch
Well,
this.
I'm not familiar with exactly what it is, but making the American dream of home ownership available
Watch
to
this.
all
It's
people
coming.
is something
And the
we have to do
applause.
for people who are here now.
This is before you're a citizen. This is undocumented. This is for the undocumented.
Well, what I would like to do is move them to documented.
Look at the audience. What a bunch of idiots. Whoever clapped, idiots.
One of the best things that we can do for our economy is to pass comprehensive immigration reform.
By Penn, you made a great point too. She's wearing an American. Every time I see someone wearing the American flag with the Ukrainian flag, that's all I need to know about you.
So
it's other people before us.
I'm sorry, Vinny.
No, go ahead.
So I've been diving down into this, and let me explain what is happening
He's back,
here.
folks. That tea was good. Go
That
ahead.
tea was back.
It was back. No, and I'll tell you. No, seriously. Here's what's happening here. So I went in and I dove in. These aren't posts on X. I dove into some stuff, and the homeless crisis is led by people who are citizens, usually addicted, and people with mental health issues are a very significant percent of the homeless population of those who are citizens. The homeless population among the people that just arrived here, like, you know, on those walks from Central America that we see coming through Mexico and coming through Eagle Pass in Texas and all that, those are, when they come across here, amazing numbers that are homeless. So the homeless problem is increased by these. So guess what they want to do? They want to hide them. Because step one, Governor Abbott's going to put them on a bus send them to Chicago, Philadelphia, New York. He did it quite a bit successfully. And they're like, look, the states on the border are just going to be putting people on buses and shipping them around. So we got to hide these people. This program is specifically to reduce the homelessness of the undocumented immigrants and to get them into homes, number one. And number two, it's now that they have a permanent home, they have a registry status for
voting?
Voting.
Weird.
Exactly.
It's not weird.
In fact, so now here's the next one. Can any state on an annual basis run the deficits like the United States of America as a country does?
Hell no.
No way.
No, they cannot. But you know where they get money? So what if there's 10 wildfires and let's pick a different state.
Federal government.
What if there's exactly. What if there's a terrible hurricane that just overwhelms Hawaii?
Yep.
And they're typhoon in the Pacific, I guess. Overwhelms Hawaii, and they need FEMA. So FEMA comes in because, and what do governors always ask the president to do? Declare this area a federal disaster area eligible for money so we can balance our budget. So it's not the citizens of California are paying for these houses. It is every taxpayer in the United States of America, because they're going to go seek federal money to match this because they're not going to be able to balance the state budget. Ladies and gentlemen, this is nationalized housing welfare to get those people off the streets and to devisualize the homeless situation and put them in homes with permanent addresses where they will vote.
Wow.
I'll say one thing about Nancy Pelosi. So who is Nancy Pelosi in the grand scheme of things at this point? I mean, she was supposedly the final voice of, all right, Joe Biden, you're out of here, buddy.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It wasn't Obama. It
She was
wasn't
the hatchet
I mean, it wasn't Kamala. She runs the House. And she's very much concerned with down ballot races. She see where it was trending. She's like, Biden, you got to go, buddy. You were going to do this the easy way or the hard way. And I think it appeared as if Biden wanted to stay. And she's like, no, you're done because I can't raise money. I can't do this. Follow the money. You're gone. And then the next thing with her is whatever that was she just did, that word salad of buzzwords, it's like you can always go to the well. It's like a comedian, Vinny. Like, like if the crowd ain't feeling you, you can go to your one joke where you're like, my back gave out.
Yeah.
Like, that.
Yeah.
So she's going to go to her just word salad of buzzwords. And if you roll the tape, it's the same stuff. The American dream and the Statue of Liberty and the dream of home ownership and our diversity is our greatest strength. And our door's always open for undocumented workers and immigrants. Well, California's leading the way on it's all just buzzwords of nothingness, of word salad, where it's essentially just a handout to the poor or to the undocumented. And then she gets her round of applause and then she's like, all right, I did it. Thanks. But she didn't say anything other than she's essentially helping ruin America and giving away more money.
And while admitting in there in one little quick couple words that she didn't really understand the bill he was actually asking about.
I don't know which one you're talking about.
Right.
I'll look into it, but but this is giving it to people that are undocumented. Yeah, I mean, we have to put together a comprehensive to make these guys documented.
You don't know what bill is going on in your state when you're the head of the government, of the federal. What is happening? How do you not know?
That's literally your job. Look at everything that's happening in her freaking state. Look at everything that's happening.
They got a math problem, and they don't want to use a calculator, dude.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through what's going on with X. By the way, if you guys know, there's a massive feud going on between X, Brazil, and their Supreme Court Justice, their Alexandre de Moraes. Here's what's going on here. So here's a Guardian. I'm going to read a few of them for you, and then we'll go open up and talk about this. X goes offline in Brazil after Elon Musk's refusal to comply with local laws. Okay, so Elon is saying, Brazil, screw you. We're going to do whatever we're going to do here. X, formerly known as Twitter, was blocked in Brazil after Elon Musk refused to comply with local laws, leading the country's Supreme Court to enforce the ban. This action, led by Judge Alexandre de Moraes, was in response to X allowing the massive propagation of misinformation and hate speech and Musk's failure to appoint a new legal representative after closing X's local office. The ban left millions of Brazilian users, including top influencers like Felipe Neto, unable to access X. Many migrated to the rival network Blue Sky, which gained 500,000 users in 2 days. Neto reminded Musk, when you go to another country, you're obliged to follow its legislation, even if you disagree with it. Musk responded to the ban with vulgar and combative remarks. Again, this is Guardian, folks, calling Judge de Moraes a Voldemort and accusing him of being a dictator and a fraud. Okay, so obviously that's not going to sit well with him because he doesn't want the people to know who he really is. And Elon Musk just told him who he really is. And then you got, things are getting serious when the Hulk is getting involved. And I'm talking about Hulk like Mark Ruffalo. If you want to go to this guy's, the tweet he puts up, Rob, just go to my Twitter account. I retweeted at this guy. So think how weird this situation is. This guy, Mark Ruffalo, okay? He tweets out and quotes Alexandre, zooming in his tweet, and then you'll come back to what I responded with. He tweets, this is what Alexandre said. Elon Musk showed his total disrespect for Brazilian sovereignty and in particular for the judiciary, he's talking about himself, setting himself up as a true supranational entity and immune to the laws of each country. De Moraes wrote, look what Mark says, because he is a weird and entitled billionaire tech bro. Tax him heavily. He says this, why you'll go to the comment section, go back please. Look at the comment section. He turned off the comment section.
Weird.
Now go back, Rob, to my tweet, respond at him. And I said, defending Alexandre de Moraes while having comment section off says it all. Both you and him hate freedom of speech as anti-American as one can be, right? And this continues. Robert Reich gets involved, which I have a phenomenal picture to show you guys of Robert Reich when he was younger and handsome. I can't wait to share the Rob. I'll send it to you to show to the audience. We have to give him credit on how beautiful and handsome he was when he was younger. But so Robert Reich gets involved. Ex-Labor Secretary Robert Reich claims Elon Musk's out of control, says regulators should threaten arrest. What? Threaten arrest? Because he bought X and people are able to actually speak there? This is him. Robert Reich said Elon Musk is out of control and argued in a column that regulators should threaten Musk with arrest if he continues to disseminate lies and hate on X. And Reich criticized Musk's accusation of Twitter as dangerous nonsense driven by quest for power, not free speech. He urged the U.S. government to terminate its contracts with Musk's SpaceX, questioning why the nation relies on Musk companies when he shows utter disregard for public rest. And by the way, he's saying all this shit, right? While Brazil is couple months away from election. I think they got an election next month, in the month of October. And in Brazil, they use Twitter heavily. Tom, what are your thoughts on what's going on in Brazil?
Well, I've got two thoughts. One is, do they have a president, or they just have some sort of judicial dictatorship? Number one. And number two, do the people of Brazil understand what's going on here? You know, you have an outside platform that can't be controlled inside, so the people can see the truth of what's going on around them and make their own decision. And so what you have is a very large, significant country with a judicial. This is what a wing of the Democrat Party want here in the United States. They want the ability to turn on and off the dissenting view. And they're going to call it hate speech. They're going to call it not progressive. They're going to put whatever branding, which they do very well on it. And that's what they want. Well, that's what Brazil has got, because Brazil, if you follow the story of being president there, you never retire. You usually go to jail. And then there's a new election, and the next guy comes in, and then he might go to jail. So there's a long-standing tradition there. They do have term limits, but they don't have parole. So you've got a bunch of things here you have to deal with. But the people of Brazil are here. And I think Elon Musk is saying, look, there were other tweets from Musk that he says, I'm not going to do something that's illegal, and they were asking me to do other things here, not just comply with their law.
And so Brazil does have a president. It's Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, who took office January 1st. Third term as president. He was previously served from 2003 to 2011, and he's both the head of the state and the head of the government, leading the executive branch and the federal government.
You know who he is? No. He was part of something called the Operation Car Wash. He went to jail for stealing nearly $600 million worth citizens.
Yep.
The Supreme Court Justice, Alexandre de Moraes, goes and releases him from jail and changes the law because they knew that only one guy could beat Bolsonaro, which is Lula, and Lula ends up beating Bolsonaro. The day he does, there's riots of millions of people in the streets of Brazil. That Lula guy is one of the biggest criminals in the history of Brazil, who is one of very good friends and allies of Bernie Sanders and AOC.
Yeah, weird. He's the Bernie Sanders of Brazil, although he's also been to jail.
Straight to jail.
But Pat, you've done multiple panels about Brazil. You know, I've been from Miami, Colombian friends, Argentinian friends, Venezuelan friends, a lot of Brazilian friends. They have mixed feelings on what's going on here. But my Northern Star is, all right, where does the United States rank in all this, right? Like, great, I understand there's chaos in Brazil. I understand there's chaos everywhere around the world. You know, this whole concept of freedom of speech and freedom of expression. My Northern Star is, all right, where is USA in all this? And the reality is in USA, we're actually trending the wrong way. Not a good look. So that, you know, I've gone through, I can show you some stats in a second, Rob. The whole concept of freedom of speech and the freedom of speech index, dude, I reviewed the World Population Review, Reporters Without Borders, Pew, World Press Freedom Index. There's all these different classifications. And essentially what they do is they'll either put a country into one of 5 categories. And the green, which you can see over there in Scandinavian countries, is a quote-unquote good situation. Then the second one, which is towards yellow, is a satisfactory situation when this cumulative index of freedom of speech, which factors in freedom of press, freedom of expression, protection of freedom of speech, everything with that. Then you have quote-unquote noticeable problems, which is in orange. So if you go to the United States, noticeable problems, okay. And then it gets worse. The fourth category is light red, quote unquote, difficult situation, which you can see happening in certain parts of South America and Africa. And then you have a number 5, very serious situation, which it looks like in China, in Russia, in North Korea, that side of the world, Saudi Arabia, where good luck saying anything. So for me, my biggest concern is United States. You know, in 2023 or the last time they did this, it was post-COVID, so 22-23, we were number 45 in the world. So there's about 180, 190 countries, depending on if you're going to factor in size and population. 180 countries. We're number 45. All right, not the best. Since then, do you think we went up or down this year? We're now number 55 in the world. So if you scroll down, Rob, I believe there's like actual rankings. This is what concerns me the most. There you go, right there. So again, I did the green, the yellow, the orange, the light red, the dark red. And I can kind of weigh in on this. The left side is these countries are doing okay, right? You have the Scandinavian countries, Norway, Denmark, Netherlands, Sweden, so on and so forth, even Canada. Then the second category is like, look, you're doing okay, but you can also room for improvement. That's where United States is. But Brazil, where's Brazil? Brazil's number 82. So essentially they're in the middle. They can go one way or another. If they continue down this path of suppressing freedom of speech and basically criminalizing Elon Musk because he's giving access to freedom of speech, what direction does Brazil want to go? Do they want to go in towards the satisfactory good situation, or do they want to go towards the noticeable problems, difficult, very serious situation like China?
By the way, keep talking, Adam. Tell us about 49.
49?
Romania.
Here we go.
That is better than United States?
Yeah. 49 is Romania. And if you have...
by the way,
that's a whole nother conversation.
George Washington once said this. He said, the freedom of speech may be taken away, and dumb and silent, we may be led like sheep to the slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
George Washington said this. Okay. So they can sit here and say whatever they want to say about all this stuff. And by the way, this isn't Brazil's not the first one that's been banned, that banned X. Just so you know, temporarily in the past, Egypt did it in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Turkey did it in 2014 and 2023. Uzbekistan did it in 2021. China banned X permanently in June of 2009, like permanently.
Wow. June of 2009. They're like, hey, you have a social media app? You're done. Thanks, bye.
Iran blocked X. Done in 2009.
Yeah.
North Korea blocked X and other platforms, Facebook, YouTube, since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
You got Russia throttled access to X in 21, formally banned it in March of 2022 after the invasion of Ukraine. Many Russians use VPN to bypass it. Pakistan blocked X earlier this year. Venezuela blocked X following the 2024 election amid allegations of fraud and widespread. We're talking about Maduro's situation here.
Yep.
And now they're going after Elon, okay? And, with the whole thing that happened with Pavel who Telegram that they arrested him. I think they arrested him in, they arrested him in Europe? Where did they arrest him? In France, right?
Yes.
So here's the thing that with Elon Musk, he's done such a great job that they can't touch him. Because the number one EV automaker in America that creates more EVs than all the other cars combined, you know what that company's called? It's called Tesla.
Yeah.
While the two people were stuck in space with a company called Boeing that's been around for God knows how many years, you know who was the one that said, you know what? We'll find a way to come and save you guys, and we can't wait till next year because this is the right thing to do. It was a company called SpaceX, ran by a man named Elon Musk, right? Do you know who owns the most battery facilities for EVs that need to get their cars charged? Yeah, Elon Musk. Do you know when Ukraine was going to war against Russia, and everybody was like, Putin's a bad guy and all this other stuff. Do you know how many Starlinks, Elon Musk gave to Ukraine while they're losing? I think it was like $21 million a month. We can find the number. I may be off by a couple of dollars. They said, don't worry about it. Keep it on for Ukraine. Even though Ukraine talked shit to Elon, he still kept it on. So you got human rights with what he's doing. You got climate change, they claim is very important to them. This guy's actually working on it with his cars. You got space. You want to go explore space. He's actually doing it while it costs NASA $2.1 billion to launch a rocket. He does it for $69 million. He knows how to save money. Let me say that one more time, folks. NASA government-funded program tries to launch a rocket. It costs him $2.1 billion, $2 billion. He does it for $69 million. Okay, specifically 69. He could have paid 67, but he paid $2 million more because he likes to pay $69 million for things. $69,000 for his cars. That's because of his sense of humor with that, with 420 and other things.
And NASA drops the polluted parts into the ocean. When they're done with them, he brings them back and recycles and recycles and recycles.
So do you realize how many different ways this guy is built himself to be the guy that if they do anything to him, the world's going to be affected by it in different ways. Now, does that give him a lot of power? Yes. Do you find out, did Lincoln say, if you really want to find out about someone's character, what do you do? Give him power? Yes. Are people really going to find out what he's really all about long term? Of course. But so far, what has he done to society? He's given you freedom of speech. And Mark Cuban, who loves freedom of speech, decided to do a poll the other day, folks, because of Elon Musk. Mark decides to pose a question in a creative way to get people to side with him, and it backfires. And I'm sure he did not have the best of weekend. He probably didn't give a shit about it. But here's what he decides. So just go to Twitter, Rob. It's the best way to do it. If you go to Twitter, okay, Mark Cuban decides to run a poll, and I'll read this. Mark Cuban decides to run a poll saying, who would you rather have your child have their character, who would you like to see them duplicate? Would it be more Trump or would it be more Kamala Harris? Okay. Well, the results came back, and here's what the results look like. Wow. 17.5 million views, 804,000 people voted. Whose persona and character would you like to see your young child grow up to have? Kamala Harris or Trump?
And this is on his, these are his followers.
Following. 69% said Trump.
Wow.
Only 31% said Kamala Harris. Tom, when you saw this, what was your reaction to it?
First of all, honestly, what I did is I clicked up there on Cuban because I said, let me make sure this isn't a parody account, that underneath it was like Mark Cuban number 26 or something. You know what I mean? Underscore 27. And I'm like, no, this is really Cuban. And I was stunned. I said, boy, I'm wondering if he wishes that he never asked this question, because not only did he get a sharp answer, he got let's use a word here, a landslide answer.
70-30. I mean, and so, like you said, Pat, these are people that are loyal to him. And I know people have haters that follow just to hate on him.
I loved it.
It's hilarious.
Had I seen the poll when it was up, that's
Rob,
how I would have
Can we see
voted.
the comment section? Just go down. Let's just see what the comment section of people are saying. So zoom in a little bit. I think Senator Kennedy can add some valuable insight to this question. Thankfully, an American picked a person. Keep going a little lower. Let's see what other people are saying. Mark Cuban, is that you? He's thinking it's Elon Musk using that account. Are you going to be on the white dudes for Harris call?
That's funny.
You don't get it, Mark. You're a this is up. Keep going lower. Keep going lower. Let's see what else we got. Hunter Biden or Barron Trump? Wait until Trump wins this poll and you say X is such a right-wing app instead of just reading the effing room. I don't want my kids on their knees to climb the ladder of life. Wow, that was...
I wonder what that's about.
I don't understand what he was saying there.
Me neither.
I'm not raising commies. How did Kamala climb the ladder? I'll give you a hint, but keep going lower. So, anyways, so it's risky to go through the chat, see what people are saying. But look, Rob, go back and see what he said after this, because after this, he's a sharp guy. He has to say something after the poll is over with. Does he say anything about it? Zoom in to see if he says anything. Is that it? Hey, Elon. How come there were only 804,000 votes for the poll, but only 656,000 engagements in the analytics? What? Yet 17.5 million people that saw the tweet.
He's trying to debunk his own.
Go a little lower.
Poll.
So let's see if Elon responded to that. Go a little lower, Rob. Mark, yes, responding to this poll within X tweets as an engagement for the post analytics. Engagement on X varies. Engagements are people opening the tweet itself, scoring on replies, threads under. Voting on a poll doesn't require a person to engage in a tweet. Okay, go a little lower. And just like that, Mr. Communist is now an election denier.
That is perfect.
Ruka, are you questioning the results of a free and fair election, Mark?
Of course he is.
Go above.
That's my favorite.
8 million followers, and you get ratioed on every post. Go above it. Go above it, Rob. Let's see what his next tweet is after this. Let's see if he's got another thing that he says. I'm just curious. Go above it, Mark Cuban. He says something like that. Great point. How nice that it would be to get rid of anonymous accounts on Twitter. Okay, keep going up. Let's see what else he says. Who I vote for, one legit point. My own concern is not with work, however, but with a friend's having been swatted because her boyfriend said she was easier. All right. So anyways, look, I mean, you got to love the free market when somebody tries to go out there and do a poll and the market responds to you in a way that you did. How many followers does he have? What's the number all the way at the top?
8.8 million.
8.8 million. 10% voted. 69% voted for Trump. 31% voted
what
for.
What happened to Mark Cuban, Pat? Like what? From what? Because I know you pay attention to, like, you have your foot, like you know what's happening. What flips this guy from all the positive that he used to talk about Trump? What happened? How did that brain melt happen when it comes to Donald Trump? Did he do something to him? Did they do business together? I know like the average people that have Trump derangement syndrome, but these people this high that let Trump get to them that much, what is it? What do you think it is?
So there's the people that typically win at the highest level are generally some of the most sensitive people. And I know it kind of sounds weird, like, wait, what? Don't they like not give a shit? They're generally some of the most sensitive people. That includes Musk, that includes Trump, that includes a lot of people. So that includes Michael. It's not sensitive in the way that you think of sensitive, because typically you think of sensitive, you think of what?
Like kind of, please don't bother me.
It's kind of like when girls say, you're so jealous to men. No, men are territorial.
Yes.
You're my girl. If you want me to treat you as my girl, not one of my 5 girls, this is what comes with that territory. Mm-hmm. And yes, I'm protective of this. I don't like it when you do da. Oh my God, he's so jealous. Nope, he's territorial. That's how we are. We protect, right? So there's a difference to say jealousy versus territorial, right? Same thing with sensitivity. Sensitivity isn't, oh my God, he hurt my feelings and I can't believe this. And, it's feelings. No, it's Mark Cuban, when Trump was running, started campaigning as if he wanted a job on Trump's campaign and Trump's team, okay? That's what he sounded like. And one time somebody asked him a question about Cuban. I don't know who asked him a question about Mark Cuban. And Trump didn't say anything bad about Mark Cuban. This was early on in 15, 16. Mm-hmm. And Trump's answer was like, look, he's a good businessman. He's done very well for himself. He didn't say anything at the time. Okay, he was just very much, could have been Fallon or Kimmel, one of those two types of guys asked him the question. Okay. So there are a lot of things you don't know about. Maybe they had a conversation behind closed doors. They negotiated. Trump made a promise to him and he didn't keep. Mm-hmm. Maybe there was a job offer that he made. He didn't want to do it. And he gave it to somebody else because whatever Cuban was going to work to raise money for him and didn't do it, and whatever Trump. So Trump's also like the same way as well. And Trump can change his mind like this for a job. Like when he's like, hey, RFK should have waited to the very end to give the job, to be part of the endorsement to Trump, because he could have asked for more for Trump, because now that you already did, Trump doesn't have to give you a job when he becomes a president, which is kind of true.
Yes.
So those are the things that we don't know about. It could be that simple. Mm-hmm. Some people say, well, somebody probably has something on it with women and girls and all this stuff. Maybe, maybe you could put a percentage on that. But usually it could be as simple as call happened, promise was made, promise wasn't delivered, permanent vendetta for the rest of their lives against somebody like him.
I can see that.
And by the way, sometimes in some of these issues that you have with certain guys you do business with, enemies, competitors, sometimes all it takes is just to say, hey, man, I effed up. Okay, cool. All right. Man-to-man conversation. And typically high driving, hard charging. It's like, boom, boom, we move on, right? But that situation, I don't think is going to happen from Trump to him or Cuban to Trump. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen at that level. That's how simple I think this is.
Okay.
I agree with you on the fact that I think this is something personal is happening here, because there seems to be a permanent vendetta. I think it was on Bill Maher's show. Then in 2015, he's like, look, an outsider like Trump, he's, we kind of need something like that.
Yeah,
said those words. And he goes, well, obviously he's got zero chance of winning. No chance whatsoever. So he obviously had to eat those words. And now that he's just gone down the path of, whether you call it TDS, whether you call it a personal vendetta, it seems to be clear on one thing. His mind is made up. He's not looking to deviate from that. He's dug in. He's clinging to that. And when you're clinging to a position, you give wiggle room to be like, well, maybe this, that, the other. He's gone fully down the DEI path. He's gone fully down the ESG path. And he's just made his mind up. And he's just doubling down on that, because at what point can you make a U-turn and save face? I don't think that's going to happen with this guy. So, and then, I don't know, this might be somewhat controversial. I actually don't put a lot of credence into that specific Twitter poll, because if you look at any poll out there in the world in general, it's all within the margin of error of 2 to 5%, depending on who you ask. So if you have such a wide delta what was it, 70-30, whatever it was.
70-30.
There's zero polls that show that there's this much, even in the economy. Like, why would the economy be even close? Trump to Kamala, it's still only 10 points, whatever it is. Nuts. So this poll done, and then there are stats out there that
it's
show.
It's just funny. You're right.
Exactly.
It's just funny, is what it is.
Yes.
Honestly, that's really all it is.
It's more about Mark Cuban recognizing, hey, bro, Twitter is not going to be your friend on this.
Yeah.
Twitter has gone a little bit more free speech towards the right, and it's not exactly his audience.
By the way, just so you know, Trump and Cuban have a lot in common.
Yeah.
They have a lot in common. But one is winning, the other one's losing.
You're right. You're right about that.
And one everyone's talking about, and everyone wants to be like you. The other side is like the people that are following Mark's lead are very different types of people. And sometimes, I'm telling you, sometimes you go into a message and you follow the message. You're like, yeah. And you're getting a positive reaction. Oh, that was great. Yeah. And sometimes, yeah. And then you end up in a room full of LGBTQ. You're like, oh, but that's where he's at now. No.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying? He's like, what am I doing in this room? I'm not you guys.
I'm a basketball fan.
DEI. Why am I in the room with everybody talking DEI? I've had the whitest team in the NBA 75% of the time for 20 years because I recruit European players. They're easier to deal with contracts. What am I doing? Those guys are team players, and Dirk was willing to take less money to have other people coming in. How did I end up in this room? It's because the mob recruited you over, and it took years for you to realize you're now so in, you can't leave now. And once they get you, they get you. That's exactly how they do it.
That's such
he's in the
it's such a difficult position to be in.
But you don't know
when you can. What's the whole thing? When you're in a hole, stop digging.
Yep.
He's just piling it on. It's like stop,
listen,
Mark.
In the insurance company we ran, you would have some guys that would take a position, and all of a sudden, certain people defend them. You know what? You're right. Pat is wrong, and da-da-da-da-da. And then eventually, they're holding a meeting, and you know who were the people that were in that meeting? All the non-performing leaders.
Weird.
You know what that meant? Yeah. You are the leader of the non-performing leaders.
Yeah, congrats.
And all the other people in the other room were all the performing leaders, and that guy is now saying, shit, I'm officially the leader of the non-performing leaders. Man, that must suck. Exactly. That's kind of how this thing works out. Yeah. So let's go to the next story here. Turkey. Okay, so Turkey bids to join BRICS, which, by the way, kind of weird, right? And NATO and all this stuff. But Turkey bids to join BRICS in push to build alliances beyond West, and that's a Bloomberg story. Turkey has formally applied to join BRICS, with President Erdogan's administration viewing the geopolitical center of gravity as shifting away from the West. The decision is driven by frustrations over Turkey's stalled EU membership bid and strained relations with NATO allies, particularly after maintaining close ties to Russia post-Ukraine invasion. Erdogan stated that Turkey must improve its relations with East and West simultaneously, seeing BRICS membership as a way to boost economic ties with Russia and China and potentially becoming a hub for gas exports between the EU and Asia. Turkey's application follows BRICS' recent expansion, and which added Iran, the UAE, Ethiopia, and Egypt to the list. Vinny, thoughts on the story?
Wait, Pat, which one was this one?
This the Turkey deciding to join BRICS.
Listen, the story that I had was the two Navy guys. Did you see that one? That's the one.
Okay. No, here it says that one. But we can talk about this. Well, Tom, I'll come to you first. So what are your thoughts about this year, them wanting to join BRICS while they're part of NATO?
Number one, they have always been kind of the back of the line with NATO, except one thing. They get tons of money and arms from the U.S. because we've got some big-time strategic bases there. You look where Turkey is in the world, we've got some very strategic bases there, number one. But on the other hand, they have been dying to get into EU for economic reasons. Because remember, EU has two sides to it. You basically have Germany and France, large, powerful economies, and everybody else getting subsidized. And that's why you hear the Germans always getting upset. If you put one more, second-rate country in here and I have to do the welfare program for it, I'm going to kill somebody. And so that's where Germany is, that the EU is not worked out for Germany because they've been footing the bill for these other countries. Well, Turkey has got a labor base and it's got things, but it's not exactly a manufacturing power like Germany or France. So the people people in the EU been, maybe Turkey, you stay outside the velvet rope. We want to trade with you. We'll have treaties with you, but we're not sure you're going to come in here and get the EU currency and everything that goes with it. And they're sitting there, well, this is really pissing me off. I really, I want some friends. Well, Brazil, Russia, China, India, they are looking around for friends, and they've got energy, they have trading partners, and so they're like, all right, I'll still be NATO, but maybe I'm going to go talk to the BRICS people who want to play nice economy games with me. I think it's that simple. And then all the subtext in there about who's got NATO bases, United States, but you still get money from the United States. I think that's what's going on. And it's got everybody thinking, maybe we got to do something on this EU thing because we don't want them walking down the street too much. And so it's kind of a little bit of a pretzel in the middle of this, but it's significant because of where they're located.
Look, Turkey is one of the most important regions and arguably countries in the world just because of the way they're positioned and who they are. Culturally, politically, diplomatically, they're called the gateway to Europe. So they're the one country, massive country, by the way. I think they have the most powerful military, possibly even economy in the Middle East. They're a major player. Now, if you go to, just look at Ukraine. There's parts of, far eastern Ukraine that identify more with Russia. Then there's part of the western Ukraine identifies more with Europe. Well, that's amplified even more in Turkey because Turkey, Istanbul, which was formerly Constantinople, a massive, part of the Ottoman Empire. What is that border? That borders what? Bulgaria, Romania. It's Europe. It's Europe. So then you have Ankara, which I believe is the capital. Fact check me. Ankara is more Muslim. It's right next to Syria, which is right next to Armenia and Azerbaijan and everything that you know on there. Look, the thing with Turkey is are they a friend? Are they a foe? Are they a partner? Are they an enemy? It really all depends on who you ask and what the issue is. This BRICS situation is not good. You think we need more massive countries aligning against the U.S. dollar and the U.S. hegemony? No. But at the same time, do we need them to defeat terrorism and help with NATO? I think they weren't one of the first countries that joined NATO in 47 or 48. I think they joined in 52. We don't need them. We don't need them cozying up to the Russias of the world or the Chinas of the world or certainly the Irans of the world. The president of Turkey, give me his name again one more time.
Erdogan.
Erdogan, not exactly a fan of U.S.-Israel diplomatic relations. That's it. Erdogan, he's veering towards the side of authoritarian, it would seem. He's also very pro-Islam. That's his thing. But what I would say is take your alignment and relationships where you can get it, and agree on what you can agree upon, because it's never going to be 100% with this country, and respectfully disagree and push back where you need to push back. But this is a country, bottom line, with a lot of ugly past. We know what happened with the Armenian genocide, straight up. It was Joe Biden that I believe recognized it for the first time. Assyrians, I learned that they were kind of part of that whole situation. Oh yeah, World War I. Very ugly history, this Ottoman Empire, and then after the Ottoman Empire, how the Middle East sort of got carved up by Britain, France, everything there. They're a major player. They shouldn't be discounted, but proceed with caution with this country.
Can you mind, Pat? So, by the way, you nailed it. There are NATO ally, correct? Monday, 2 U.S. service members were attacked in Turkey by a group of anti-American protesters during a violent interaction caught on camera. Rob has it. The man was identified as a serviceman from the USS Wasp. They just docked in Turkey, and the incident occurred in the Turkish port city of Izmir. 5 of his other soldiers had to jump in and say, look at this guy. This guy just shopping in the town, and then he gets caught up by some guys from Turkey. Look, has no idea what's... By the way, look, and they're chanting, Yankee go home. Yankee go home, and then that's his other Navy partner coming in to get involved. And it's like, bro, what kind, that is happening in the streets of Turkey to our soldiers. That's absolutely ridiculous. And that's not the first time it happened. In 2014, 3 U.S. Navy soldiers from the USS Ross were attacked by the youth union members, also chanting Yankee go home. Pat, it seems as if the sentiment towards us is not a positive one, and they don't like us. Why are we even going over there?
Well, maybe that's why they're I mean, you have to realize the last year has changed a lot, increased emotions a lot, temperature a lot, revealed a lot of people's motives, anger that people have been sitting on for a long time, some purely driven by emotion, some driven by years of hostility and hate towards a community that's now being public. And by the way, I'm convinced, Tom, I don't know if you agree with this or not, that 90% of the hate and stuff that's being said from both sides, Palestine, Muslims, Israel, Jews, those 90% are following the 10% of true believers who they're just getting caught up. They're like, so do you know what it means, river? Do you know what it means when there's, do you know what they, no. Do you know what the capital? No. Do you know what, do you know? So why are we here? Honestly, I don't know why I'm here. So a lot of people are just following it, but some of them are truly going through it. So Turkey and Israel, they typically had a good relationship together. It's not improved in the last 12 months. They don't have the best relationship that they once had together. So he has to sit there and say, where am I going to be welcome? Selfishly, what's Erdogan's job? His job is to defend his beliefs, which is what? He's a Muslim. He's the leader of Turkey. That's what his responsibility is. His responsibility isn't you or I or, whatever anybody else thinks about it. His responsibility is, what do his people want him to do? What's best for Turkey? What's best for his people? That's how he's processing that decision. And maybe if he's going to be more welcomed in BRICS by who? Russia? By Iran? By China? Yeah. I'm going to a party that I'm welcome. You ever been to a party where you're not welcomed? How do you feel when you go to that party?
Awkward, not want to leave.
How bad is it when you go there? It's like everybody kind of gives you the look, whatever, he's here, right? How does it feel when you go to a party when you're welcome? How comfortable are you? How content are you? How, like, you go on a vacation with somebody, you're like, man, I freaking really enjoy my time. I just feel welcome. And then you go to one, you're like, oh, these people are snobby and they think they're better than me and all this. I'm never going on vacation with you guys ever again. That's how Erdogan is feeling right now. Doesn't make it right or wrong. It just means he sees that as a bigger opportunity for him than NATO. Because who is the enemy of NATO?
Russia.
Why was NATO created? Purely for one country. Okay, it's who? The Soviet Union. So why am I with NATO when the origins of NATO is hate towards Russia, while Russia is actually being a good ally to me? The hell with NATO. I'm going to leave. So that's how I see that he's processing it.
They also, they also have a little bit of sort of bipolarism as a country and sort of imposter syndrome, because think about it. The whole phrase, like, if you're the smartest in the room or the richest in the room, you got to find a better room. So what happens is, and this is not my opinion, this is sort of what I've been told by friends who have spent time in Turkey, journalists, what have you. They go, look, when they compare themselves to the Arab world, they actually are like, we're number one. We're the best country around. They're sort of elitist. Don't compare me to Iran or Saudi. We're better than them. But they
are, though.
Right? So in their mind.
In
right?
the Middle East,
yes.
Best military.
Yes.
Best economy.
Of course.
So they are saying the truth.
There's reason to believe that.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, so that's when they look east. But when they look west, they're like, oh, there's the UK, there's Germany, there's France. Our GDP doesn't compare to these guys. They're marginalized and they don't feel as powerful. So you're going to have this, how, Pat, you do this thing with me sometimes. You can go this way, you can go this way. Yeah. That's literally what Turkey's going through right now. They're being pulled to the east. They're being pulled to the west. Do you want to be the best country in a basket of not so great situations, or the fourth best country in a way better situation in the EU? I would hope that they come towards our direction, but we're not going to be 100% with a country like this.
All right, so let's go to the next story here. Israel set to strike as around 500,000 protesters from hostage found murdered in cold blood. This is Sky News. Rob, do you have the clip of the protesters? If you can show that clip while I'm reading the rest, just go ahead and show that while it's going on. Adam, is that Tel Aviv, or is that the...
that is Tel Aviv.
That's Tel Aviv. While that's taking place, hostage deaths spur anger as Netanyahu holds firms on talks. U.S. citizens Hirsch, Goldberg, Poland, among 6 hostages found dead in Gaza. Rob, if you want to play what Netanyahu says, and then we'll react to it.
Mm-hmm. I was asked whether I'm not doing enough to the release of hostages. Well, I want to set the record straight. On April 27th, Secretary of State Blinken said that Israel made an extraordinarily generous offer for a hostage deal. On May 31st, Israel agreed to a U.S.-backed proposal. Hamas refused. On August 16th, Israel agreed to what the United States defined as a final bridging proposal. Hamas refused again. On August 19th, Secretary Blinken said, Israel accepted the U.S. proposal. Now Hamas must do the same. On August 28th, that's 5 days ago, Deputy CIA Director said that Israel shows seriousness in the negotiations. Now Hamas must show the same seriousness. I want to ask you something. What has changed in the last 5 days? What has changed? One thing. These murderers executed 6 of our hostages. They shot them in the back of the head. That's what's changed. And now after this, we're asked to show seriousness? We're asked to make concessions? What message does this send Hamas? It says, kill more hostages, murder more hostages, you'll get more concessions. The pressure internationally must be directed at these killers, at Hamas, not at Israel. We say yes, they say no all the time, but they also murdered these people. And now we need maximum pressure on Hamas. I don't believe that either President Biden or anyone.
Adam, thoughts?
Right. Well, he's sort of outlining a time frame of what happened here. So, you know, here's a question that really doesn't really actually come up that often is what is the general consensus of the citizens of Israel? Think about how often you even hear what they have to say, because you often hear things in uniformity like, well, Israel thinks this, and this is what Israel's doing. So let me pose you a question. What does America want to do in anything? I can guarantee you whatever it is, you're going to get 2 to 3 different opinions. If you talk to a MAGA Trump thing, this is what they believe. If you talk to a progressive leftist, they're going to give you a totally different perspective of what they feel. Hey, how does America feel about abortion? Good luck. You don't think that's contentious? How does America feel about taxes? How does it feel about... So there's no common consensus in Israel. That's one thing that I want to convey to everything. Is there a democracy? You're going to have a bunch of different opinions. They're also a parliamentary in the Knesset. They have a bunch of different cabinets that make up what this is. So there's no uniformity. So what I've been looking for is trends of which way the people of Israel are actually headed, because despite what all the Gays for Gaza and the River to the Sea Brigade, whatever they think is literally almost irrelevant. Literally. What matters the most, though, is what are the people of Israel in this democracy going to vote for? It's almost like, you have these progressives, leftists, whatever, tearing down New York, tearing down D.C. Okay, great. Who's America voting for in this election? That's what actually is going to happen. What's going to happen in policy change? But here's something interesting that I found. Ready? So, is the 2-state solution possible anymore? Pretty important question, in Israel. Pre-October 7th, 38%, yes, they think it's possible. That's down to 30%. Yeah, we can still do that. But disagree went from 30% to 50%. So that's almost double. Like they're like, yeah, we were kind of open to this. Now uniformly, no, we're out. We're not down for this. All right, that's pretty important to know how Israelis feel about this, because that's who they're going to be voting for in their next prime minister, which is up in, I think, October of 2026. How about this? What is the chances of permanent peace? Sort of important. In 2007, is permanent peace achievable? No, 56%. Yes, 31%. Okay, so it's almost 60-40, not bad. What's that number now? Is peace achievable? 74%, no, not happening. 13%, yes. So if you ask the people of Israel, hey, what do you want to do? Just follow the numbers.
Vinny, do you think permanent peace is possible in that area?
Sadly, I don't think so. I think because of, like, if you think about, you know, one side's belief, like I was just going to go into this part, like, so they were murdered, Pat, was the IDF going, because apparently they went into this, by the way, they were there for 10 months, so, you know, God knows what they've been going through for the 10 months. But when they went, they said that they found the 6 bodies in tunnels after, Adam, was it like were they going to get them right then and
Basically,
there?
it was a rescue operation in
Got
Rafah.
you.
They told them not to go into Rafah for months and months and months, but they knew that they took the hostages. By the way, breaking news, if you didn't know this, Israel puts their hostages at the highest priority imaginable. 10 years ago, they traded, I think, 1,000 prisoners, criminals, for one soldier. So just let that in mind. What is Israel's motivation? Get their hostages back, period. So they went to go try to do this
and then
operation.
they shot them all.
They found them in the tunnel.
Because they shot them.
And then they shot them back of the head.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. And let's just remember one thing. Regardless of where you are in this situation, I'm pro-America. One of the hostages, many of the hostages, but one that just got shot in the back of the head is full-on American.
Yes.
Born in America. His parents spoke at the DNC. All right, these are Americans who are being held hostage.
Hirsch Goldberg, Poland.
Exactly. So I'll just ask you one question: what side is burning the American flag, and what side is praising the American flag? That's all you got to know to figure out which side of the equation you're on as an American.
And it really, really sucks because, I mean, our policy, and you know this as a American veteran, Army veteran soldier, we don't negotiate with terrorists, which is, bro, it's so, I don't know Israel's policy. I'm pretty sure they're close. I mean, you want your hostages back, but you're dealing with people that are like, martyrdom is one of the things where if you kill, I don't know what kind of belief somebody could brainwash you to believe that if you murder innocent people, there's something better for you in paradise. I don't know what type of God rewards you with paradise, with virgins, to murder people. But I mean, it's just to answer your question, Pat, when it comes to religion and one side believes that, there's absolutely no, and I wish, yes, but there's no way when you have that mentality that there's going to be peace. I mean, wishing for it and knowing it's going to happen, I don't see it happening.
Tom.
I looked at the reaction. And I found it pretty interesting. Predictably, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, outrageous, despicable, murderous. Okay, words, not policy, not talking about a two-state solution, but words. Well, there was a candlelight vigil led by rabbis and synagogues that was at Columbus Circle Saturday night, Adam. Columbus Circle right up there by Central Park, 59th and Central Park. But then there were a tremendous amount of Palestinians out. So why were the Palestinians marching in New York over the weekend? You saw that after this. And they were talking about specifically a two-state solution.
This?
Yes. And you know why? I'll tell you why it's going on. Because below the surface, what are they asking for here? They weren't saying down with Israel. They were saying we want the majority of them were looking for a two-state solution. Two-state solution. And you still had people with that's Columbus Circle, excuse me. That's Columbus Circle, the candlelight vigil.
Tom, make your point. I'm following you. I want to see what you're going to say.
Why were there Hezbollah and Hamas flags as well as Palestinian flags in that big march in New York? Because they sat there and took a deep breath and said, oh, crap. Oh, crap. Uncle Sam is not going to pull on the leash on this after they do this. And the ones that were in New York were very, very, very animated about, two-state solution, this is what we want. But they were also being very careful because they know that hell is about to come. There's about another chapter of hell. Because who's going to pull on the leash on Israel right now if they make another big military thrust?
Nobody. No, they killed the Are those the rest of the house? No, is that the rest?
You broke a big rule. He's going to break your nose.
Yeah.
And so I was watching the reactions like this. And by the way, I couldn't find anything neutral that Kamala Harris has said about Israel going back 5 years. I said, what's her position on Israel? She's been left of Biden and critical of Israel for 6 years, dating back to before she was, vice president. And so the point I was making is I think those protesters in New York, those Palestinian protesters that want the two-state solution, they know what's coming. And this is not what they wanted.
So if somebody's watching this, let me kind of go through when you're sitting in a situation room and you're negotiating, and let's just say, that group wants to work from home. This group doesn't want anybody to work from home because the people who work from home don't get as much done as these guys do. And then the guys in the middle, I just don't give a shit. I just want to get to work. Everyone's motives are out there. So if someone's watching this and you're Muslim, right? And you've heard how critical I've been about Iran when it comes down to what they did last year, an increase in the number of hangings and public executions. And we're supposed to think that's a country peace. It's we're a nation of peace. Okay, well, show it to me. Not just to your enemies, show it to me to your own people, right? Mm-hmm. You know how you see certain animals that eat their own kids? You're like, wait, what? You see, like, how the hell could you do that? I was hungry. You ate your own kid, bro. You got some problems doing that, right? Okay. So then if somebody's watching this, and the Muslim community, they're going to say, Islam, Israel, it's fun, there's Zionists, all this stuff. I totally understand your emotions. Totally get it. Yeah, you're supposed to be emotional because if you can lower it and you can reason, it's actually better for you. But I understand that emotionally you're going to be on that side. If somebody's Jewish or Israel and they're watching Netanyahu and they're saying, yeah, Netanyahu is Israel first. Erdogan is Turkey first, right? You hope Kamala's America first. I don't think she's America first. You hope Biden was America first. I don't know if he was fully. I think he was more America first than she is, but you hope he's America. You hope our politicians are America first, then Ukraine first. Hey, give me some money. Then, some of these other places first. But the idea is, I understand what Erdogan would defend him. What do you think Putin is? Russia first. What do you think Xi is? China first. What do you think Iranian Khamenei are? They're their pockets first, then they're Iranian first on how this whole thing. So set those aside. Then there's the community of people who are a little bit like, oh man, can we just move on with this? This is an impact on my school, safety for my kids. I'm having a license to carry. I'm carrying guns. I've never carried my guns when we're going out to dinner with my family because I just don't want to have all this tensions that's going on. But then here's the part. As a kid, when my parents got a divorce, I don't know if your parents have gotten a divorce. If you're watching this and when it happens when you're 10 years old, 11, 12, 13 years old, you think it's your fault, right? As a kid, you don't know what's going on. You love both sides. You love your mom, you love your dad. And your dream as a kid when they first go through a divorce is to hope they one day find a way to live together, okay? In that dream, you'll have the conversation with your dad. And you'll say, Dad, why can't you just make it work? And your dad's like, dude, I'm not in the business of explaining a 13-year-old kid what the hell we're going through, bro. You don't want to know the whole story anyways, okay? It's not working out. It's never going to happen. And then the kid's like, how could you say that? And then you go bring it up to your mom's like, he doesn't want to. I would love to. I would never. Why can't you? And you try to do all these creative ways to get people to, to find a way to be together. Now, you got to realize my parents are a unicorn because they married and divorced each other twice, okay? I'm a first child on their second marriage to each other. So they got pregnant with me on their second marriage. Eventually it got to a point where it was like, look, I don't want you guys to get remarried. Hell no, okay? It's best you guys stay divorced and try to be as civil as possible. So when we were getting married, and they were going to be in the same room together for the first time in 19 years. And I said to my dad and my mom, I said, neither one of you guys are coming to my wedding. They're like, wait, what? I said, no, you're not invited. So my dad calls me and says, I haven't gotten a wedding invitation. I said, yeah, I know. You're not invited. My dad's my hero. My mom's like, yeah, I didn't get a wedding invitation. I said, I know. Neither one of you guys are invited. Wait. My only son is getting married and I'm not invited? Exactly. Because you're not going to ruin my wedding date for my wife. You're not going to do it. And the first time you guys are going to meet is not going to be there. So then I set up for a week, I'm like, if you guys don't meet together pre-getting married, you're not coming to the wedding. A week later, they both call me, they agree. They come to the house. And you've heard me tell this story before. And they sat down, boom, came to the wedding. Nothing crazy happened. And we moved on, okay? A part of what's going on between these guys, everybody else's job is to try to find a way to have them coexist civil. But if you're thinking You don't know what they did in the past when they did this to us. But how about the one time when you guys did this to us? But what about that one time when you did this? But what about that video when you saw this video? Show me the video. But how about that video? But how about this video? All you care about is money. All you care about is how about your religion? Where's your peace? And you eventually are like, look, guys, you guys are permanently divorced. Yeah. Unless if a meteor hits us and, half the world population is killed, that eventually Jews, Christians, and Muslims are going to say, can we find a way to unify? Unless if an event like that, apocalyptic type of an event happens, and other aliens from another place show up here, they're not going to get along, okay? Everybody else's job around the world, in my opinion, is to try to find a way to lower the temperature, and you're not going to be able to lower it a lot. It's like, hey, what can we do to lower the temperature in an outdoor patio in Dubai?
Yeah.
Can I lower the temperature by 3%? Maybe. You think you're going to bring the temperature from 128 degrees in July to 92 degrees? Good luck to you, bro, right? But maybe a little bit. So to me, as this thing progresses, by the way, say in a few months this story is done and Trump comes in and there's peace. Do you think it's done?
No.
Or do you think something's going to happen in 4 years, and 8 years, and 12 years, and 16 years, and 20 years, and 25 years, and 40 years? This ain't going away. This has been going on for a couple thousand years.
Yep.
It ain't going away anytime soon. But the job of a right leader is to try to lower temperatures. And I don't know if neither Biden or Kamala have been able to do it the last 12 months. I don't think they've done that. I think they have to make a stand and try to make that happen. It hasn't happened. I think if Trump comes in and says, listen, not a Muslim, I'm not a Jew, I'm not an Islamophobe, and I don't have problems with Jews. My daughter's married to one, and I've hired a lot of Muslims. We got to get in a room and figure this thing out because you're not going to continue messing up at our country and in the U.S. with all the stuff that's going on in my universities. We're not doing that. Cool? Meeting, boom, I'm coming in, get everybody in the room, we're going to have a conversation. That's what needs to happen. And until that happens, bunch of people are getting involved in a fight that's not the sword that you want to die on. If you're a Muslim, you want to die on a sword of Muslims, totally get it. If you're a Jew, you're Israel, you want to die on that sword, go for it. For everybody else that's gotten caught up in this entire mess, my position is very simple. Where I'm at, everybody has their own independent positions that they can present to the audience. But I think we have to be very careful of getting involved in fights. Like let's just say you're married, you and your wife get into a big fight in front of us. We're doing a double date.
Awkward.
No, but it happens to me all the time because I'm running. Tom knows what I've done the last. Tom's been in meetings like, Tom, Pat, this is what you do to build an insurance company. I'm like, but you'll sit there and something happens. Okay, boom, boom, boom. So when Jen and I were getting married and I delayed the engagement, one of the reasons why I was like, I'm not ready yet is because I asked one question. Have I told you the story or no? I said, if we get married, we're married, we get into a big ass fight, who are the 5 people you're calling?
Oh yeah, I remember the story.
And she gave me the names. I said, okay. I wrote it down. I said, is this person married? No. Is this person this? Yes. Is this person this as well? I said, yeah. If you call these guys and you tell them and bitch about me, who are they going to defend? Me or you? Probably me, meaning they're going to defend her. I say, yeah, we can't make this work yet. She said, what do you mean? I said, if we get into a fight, these are the names of people I'm calling. Every one of them is going to defend you. Dudley's going to defend you. My dad's going to defend you. I'm just going through the list of people. I said, so I'm not even going to bring it up because a part of a marriage feud is it needs to be private between a husband and a wife. Maybe a few people can know, but it needs to be super, super, super private, right? You come to me and you're upset at your wife. I'm going to say, Vinny, good luck finding a perfect wife.
Yeah.
You got to find a way to make it work. Unless if it's like a massive incident that's like, look, bro, do your thing. I got your back no matter what. But she comes up to him like, look, man, Vinny's my brother. You got to go to him and make it work. But we got to kind of say, hey, you guys are neighbors, bro. Figure this shit out. We'll support from the outside, but if you kill one of our American soldiers, now I'm involved. You're not doing that to us at all. But you guys want to go do this, you better kind of calm it down a little bit because you're affecting everybody else around the world. We're not going to tolerate that, but figure your shit out because you're creating havoc for everybody else. I think that type of a situation needs to be had. I don't think they've had it yet. Anyways, I want to go to the next story. 2 more stories before we wrap up because I got about to get a haircut outside and I got couple other guys here that I need to finish up with. So, Vinny, I'm going to come to you with this one here. So, has not made any effort yet. Gabbard calls out Harris for skipping Arlington, says Trump team was approved to cover. This is a Daily Caller story. Tulsi Gabbard criticized Kamala Harris for skipping the Arlington Cemetery ceremony honoring the 13th service member killed in Afghanistan withdrawal, saying Harris has not made any effort to console the families and didn't even respond to invitations from some of the Gold Star families. Gabbard also pointed out that Harris's recent statement of the support for the military was met with offense by these family. If you have a clip, Rob, you can play this clip. Go for it.
Volume, Rob.
Clear that the former president was invited in his personal capacity, as you said, by a family of one of the service members who was killed about 2 years ago during the withdrawal from Afghanistan.
It was 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
3 years ago
Thank
to the
you for
day on
correcting me.
August 26th.
Yes, 3 years ago. The question is about the federal law and Arlington's rules that prohibit partisan or political activities at national cemeteries. And the military and also other members of other families who are buried right near there are upset about the campaign filming it and posting the video online. Do you believe that was appropriate?
You know, I checked with the campaign on this question, and they have exchanges with the officials at Arlington Cemetery. They were approved to bring a camera there to document this historic and momentous day that should not be forgotten by any American. And to have a former president there and joining these Gold Star families, I know President Trump wanted to share that with others, especially given the fact that President Biden and Harris, I heard, were invited by some of these family members. They not only didn't come, they didn't even respond to that invitation. And now to have Kamala Harris put this statement out yesterday saying that she stands with these families, she stands with the military and with veterans, you only have to look at the response that came from the Gold Star families of these 13 service members of how offended they were by that statement, given she has not made any effort, not on that third anniversary or any other time, to call them directly to offer her condolences and even apologies for their decisions that led to the loss of their loved ones.
Do you think that...
And it's great. Like, so this all sparks PBD because these families, these Gold Star families that lost their children, called the ex-president because they know that guy cares, okay? I remember a couple of years ago, and I had cousins messaging me, Pat, who are liberals, that were like, it was overheard that Trump said that soldiers are sons of bitches and blah, 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 blah. And sorry for my language. False story. Every single thing this guy does, they have something to say about it. So these Gold Star families, and the bombing, I think, was at the Abbey Gate, and the 13 soldiers that died in Afghanistan in 2021, which, mind you, those people died because of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris incompetence and their leadership. Period. That was one of the worst military decisions we've ever done. We've armed Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda's made a comeback, Tom. I think we spoke about this a couple of months ago. And I'm happy that she made this point. Those families called Trump. They wanted the photos. They wanted it, and he did it out of respect. They called Kamala Harris. They called Joe Biden. You know where Joe Biden was, right? He was at the beach, fondling with his cell phone. Kamala is 4 miles away in her mansion and watch. She's there. She's right there. No caring
You're
about.
kidding me.
No, she was Pat. She was close. She's in Arlington. Is what I want to say 4 miles where Kamala's house is from there. That's Joe Biden hanging out. You know, Secret Service is guarding him at the beach.
Probably in Delaware.
And just a reminder, and you guys remember this?
No, that's guys.
No, that's Joe Biden's beach, bro. What's going on here?
Time out.
I mean, he is watching the border be invaded on vacation.
Time out. For a second.
By the way, I thought that's secret. So I'm like, why are they running and running?
Like that seems.
Time out. For a second, you know what I was going to say? They built a wall on the beach for Biden?
Rehoboth, Delaware, or El Paso, Texas?
Oh, my God.
Rob, you pulled up the wrong one.
There.
This is the one.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That is so
But go ahead. Finish up your
okay,
thought.
they're on vacation. And just a reminder, in 2021, during the dignified transfer ceremony at Dover Air Force Base, Mr. Joe Biden, who the media always protects, remember, he was sitting there, PBD, and he checked his watch Like as if he had something better to do than be there like he was late. And then on top of that, NBC is now walking back. Kristen Walker was speaking with Tom Cotton, I believe. Rob, you can find this video. At the end, she said that Kamala intended the dignified transfer of the 13 soldiers that we saw, but they said that it implied Kamala was there. She didn't imply. She lied about it, and Kamala was not there. They actually. Oh, Rob, I sent you the tweet. Do you have the tweet? I sent you on Slack. Keep going up, Robbie. Keep going. There's a photo right there, PBD. They had to walk this back and say, our broadcast this morning, we incorrectly, fake news, that both President Joe Biden and Vice President Harris attended a dignified transfer of 13 American service members killed during the Afghanistan withdrawal. Biden was intended, but Harris was not. It's another example of how biased these people are. You can't even go and give respect to soldiers that died because of an incompetent leader without them saying, well, it's disrespectful, it's not this, it's not that. And I just think it's ridiculous. Nothing. He can't do anything right. And I've said it once time with you where I said he could run into a burning building, Donald Trump, and save 10 kids, 3 black kids, couple of Asian kids. And you know what they would say? Why didn't he get more black kids out? They'll find something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I kind of wanted to hear from RFK on this because there's a lot of conversations from the campaign about, oh, well, there's protocols at Arlington. There's protocols for this. Do you know the number one reason visitors to Washington go to Arlington? Number one location that they go, and it's silent. And it's not the tomb of the unknown soldier. It is the hill where JFK is buried, RFK is buried, the child that they had that died after 3 weeks when they were in the White House. Remember, she was pregnant and had a child. The child is buried there. And so that is the number one, I don't want to say attraction, but that is a number one place of remembrance that is visited by people. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is second, but people come there, and I've been there a few times. It's absolutely quiet. I would like to hear what RFK thinks about what Trump did, because RFK's got families there, and it happens to be a lot of people come to visit and remember his family members.
Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, you know how something happens, there's a loss, you're working in a company, something happens, and you know about it. If you don't know about it, you don't know how to make the phone call. But if you know about it, you're like, I'm too busy, can't make the phone call right now. Or you say, hey, send flowers, remind me to make the call the moment I'm out of this meeting. Or, hang on, guys, I need a quick phone call. You step away and make a phone call, right? I think leaders find time to do it. I mean, how busy is Kamala Harris right now? Seriously, it's not like she's doing 3 interviews a day. She's doing a 60-minute interview, 16-minute interview, and the other 2 minutes Tim Walz speaking, and her response is, next question. Next question.
And she's running
Just
off airplanes wearing earpods to avoid questions.
No, I mean, this has become comedy, but this situation here, what happened, this isn't comedy. And this is why soldiers relate to Trump way more than they do to Kamala or they do to Joe Biden.
And there's also it's an
embarrassing of a situation because then they try to spun it and they're like, well, they weren't supposed to use cameras. So you're more worried about whether cameras were supposed to use than the fact that your candidate didn't go to visit. So she was the border didn't have a chance to go to the border, but she didn't go to Europe. Now she's this. She didn't have a chance to go to it. How busy is this lady? How many companies does she run? How many employees does she have? How many responsibilities does she have? What does she do throughout the day? Does she work out 9 hours a day? Like, what does she do throughout? I'm actually curious. What does Kamala's day look like? What does the schedule of a Kamala Harris look like on a daily basis?
Now, in full campaign mode, we obviously know. But for the past almost 4 years, Pat, what has she done? Like, great question. Nobody could tell you what she's done or where she's been. She's just hanging out in Washington. There's nothing. Nobody could tell me one single thing that she has done. And I don't mean accomplishment.
When you work for a sales company, Tom, and they use Salesforce software, you know what Salesforce allows you to do? Salesforce allows you, like, say you're a manager and you have 200 salespeople that work for you in 14 states they live in. They're not in your office. So the way companies have figured out a way to hold people accountable is you post your appointments throughout the day. What if we don't find out the appointments now, but what if you reveal the appointments you ran and what you did 30 days delayed? What if everybody can find out what the VP does throughout the day? Hey, you work for us. We pay you the salary. Taxpayers pay the salary. Shouldn't we know the schedule that you had in the month of June or July?
I think so.
I think that's pretty cool for us to know. I think it's a form of accountability. So you're like, you were off today. What the hell did... So even if you see CNBC conversation about this, we had a meeting with this, we had a meeting with that, I don't know what she does for a living. Honestly, I don't. I know we're paying her a good amount of salary, but I don't know what she does throughout the day. Adam.
The only thing that I just sort of want to point out is, we have 2 veterans here, right? Army, Air Force. I think there's just, and this is overall.
I thought you were going to go somewhere else.
Or a seaman?
No, I thought you were going to go like 2 veterans and a senior citizen. I thought you were going.
No,
you were about to.
Me and Tom have turned a new leaf.
Okay, go ahead.
Good.
Continue. Go ahead.
But here's the question: what was the last president to serve in the military?
Senior.
Who was it? Was it
Senior
George H.W. Bush?
GW.
Bush Jr. was in the Navy, right?
Yeah.
Was he
though?
Pilot? I think so.
I thought he was Texas National Guard.
Texas National Guard, but I think he was a pilot.
So I think there is National
the last
Guard
one to serve in combat, but he was the last. His father last to serve in combat.
And you're talking about a guy who was literally jumping out of planes in his 90s. I mean, that's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
But I feel like as an American, there's just an overall detachment from our servicemen and women, from the general citizenry and the general population. And that's one of the greatest things that I've learned since being at Valuetainment is just salute to our people that are out there serving our country. And I've had the privilege of working and being around Marines and veterans and of all sorts of things. And I think in America, we're so detached from what our servicemen and women are doing out there. It's not even a part of our daily life and existence. So I think there's a trickle-down effect or even a trickle-up effect that what does Kamala Harris know about serving the country? Like, what does she even know? And there's a lot of people who say, well, what does Donald Trump have to know? Fair, I understand that. But there seems to be one party that stands a little bit stronger with the military and hardcore American values. And there's another party that is simply sort of acting as if they do. I wish there wasn't such a disconnect and a sort of detachment from our actual military, especially from the commander-in-chief. That's the thing. You have the president and the commander-in-chief. The president is the chief executive of the country. He's also, or she potentially, is also the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Of course. And that's super important.
Yeah, and you made a great point. If you think of which out of these organizations, these unions, police, firemen, military, you think they lean more Republican or more?
Yeah, they're definitely more
100%. Especially when you say stupid stuff like defund the police. Where do you think all those people are headed?
But then look, the Democrats are better than marketing because they'll take one comment that Trump said. Yeah, I like my people not captured. Boom, McCain.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's go to
he
the
went
last
to
story.
Normandy and he didn't face the right way.
Last story before we wrap up. Trump says abortion should be legal for more than 6 weeks. And this is a WSJ story. And then at the same time, he makes a proposal for IVF. Let me read this to you. He suggests he might support rolling back Florida's 6-week abortion ban, stating, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But his campaign later clarified that he has not yet said how he will vote on the ballot initiative that sparked confusion and outrage amongst anti-abortion activists. Trump is trying to navigate the politically sensitive issue of abortion, balancing his role in overturning Roe v. Wade with a more nuanced stance, claiming my administration will be great for women and their reproductive rights, while emphasizing that abortion decisions should be made at the state level. In addition to his comments on abortion, Trump proposed federal support for in vitro IVF and tax deductions for newborn expenses, contrasting with Vice President Kamala Harris's $6,000 child tax credit. Tom Cotton says he's for it. He's open to the idea. Republicans, to my knowledge, support IVF in the Congress, and there's no state that prohibits or regulates IVF in a way that makes it inaccessible. It's expensive for many couples. I understand that, so it's something I'm open to, that most Republicans would be open to, but in principle, supporting couples who are trying to use IVF or other fertility treatments, I don't think is something that's controversial at all. Tom, thoughts on this story?
So there's three things.
Wait a minute, Rob, what is this? Is this him saying it? Or?
Yes, this is Trump's statement, and then I also have Tom Cotton and Lindsey Graham.
Well, play this one here. Let's see what he says here.
You overturned Roe and you want abortion to be a states' rights issue. In Florida, the state that you are a resident of, there's an abortion-related amendment on the ballot to overturn the 6-week ban in Florida. How are you going to vote on that?
Well, I think the 6 week is too short.
It has to be more time, and so and I've told them that I want more weeks.
So you'll vote in favor of the amendment?
I'm voting that I am going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. Look, just so you understand, everybody wanted Roe v. Wade terminated for years, 52 years. I got it done. They wanted it to go back to the states. Exceptions are very important for me, for Ronald Reagan, for others that have navigated this very, very interesting and difficult path.
Tom.
So there's three points here. The first point is about the number of weeks. And there's a very delicate détente in the Republican Party and conservatives about 6 weeks. Yet that exceptions in 6 weeks is where we all arrive right now. And to go further, the people that are on the life side get really nervous about that. The second point that was in here is IVF. IVF has been available forever. There's nothing legal or illegal about IVF, and there are insurance companies that cover it. I got very concerned, and a rare day where I agree with Lindsey Graham, where the insurance companies shouldn't be told what they're going to cover and not cover. Otherwise, guess what? California is telling insurance companies what they have to do with assigned risk for cars and the FAIR plan for property insurers. You can't go tell them that it's a mandate. I will select my insurance company, and I may not need a policy with IVF because we're not having kids anymore. I may select a different policy with different coverages, but the insurance company should not be told that IVF, and then hiding in all of this right to life and children and everything. What was missing was that there's this insurance company mandate that I think is wrong. And we already have a number of things that are in the tax code. Congratulations. Is it a boy or a girl? I don't know, but you get another tax deduction, and there's some federal things you can deduct for childcare expenses that have always been in there. So, the IVF mandate is the part that I disagreed with.
Okay. I have only one issue with this here. My issue with it is the following. To put IVF for women, period, in the insurance policy and give them the tax benefit, whatever it may be, you're playing a form of a fair act where you're forcing insurance carriers to want to do this. Again, you're forcing cost of insurance to go higher for people that are not going to be using this service. And you're also at the same time making insurance companies looking bad in front of everybody. However, you know what I'll be open to? Only if you're married for a number of years. You know, if somebody marries a legal person, and then they have a certain number of years until they become legal, and you have to live together, and they come and check you out, and they're like, are you guys really together? Yeah, we've been living together for 3 years. So this is not a fake marriage? No. What if you want us to pay for the IVF? Yes, we'll do IVF. Have you guys been married for 3 years minimum? If you've been married together for 3 years, you have the same, what do you call it? Electricity bill, gas bill, you're living in the same household? No problem. That's when it activates. Because if you say for women, period, next thing you know, singles are, hey, let's go. Another one of these LBJ bills that came out in 1964 that, hey, the more kids you have, the state's going to pay you for. No, I think one simple rule needs to be in there. Married for a minimum of 3 years to qualify. If you have it, game. If you don't, I'm not for it.
I'm with you. Otherwise, you have that unintended consequence of intentionally having kids. And now you have a welfare mama that can't have kids very easily. So she gets IVF so she can make the extra check. No.
That's hurting because kids need fathers and mothers, and we're just hurting the chances.
I like your idea.
Quick thoughts. We're going to wrap up because I got 2 minutes.
I'll just be super quick. Abortion is one of the 2 or 3 issues that's going to decide this election, straight up. The economy, we all know what's going on the border, and a lot of people say, especially women, that abortion is number 1 or 2 on their list. We all saw the one girl who was struggling to figure out what's more important to America, democracy or access to abortion, and she's like, it's a tough one, but I think I'm going to go with abortion on this one. Okay, so that's how important of an emotional decision it is for women, and I understand that. The problem is for Trump, this is a no-win situation for Trump. You know, he's up 10 points with men. He's down 12 points with women. He's looking to put a Band-Aid on this situation to genuinely try to reach out to women and try to be more pro-women. You're not going to be more pro-woman than a woman. It's just, you're not going to do it. Sorry. As much as she's just a unqualified candidate in my mind, she's going to have that female vote. You're not really. So
she's never had a kid.
She's a stepmother to 2 kids. I'm not here to defend Kamala at all.
She's never had a kid. So a mother, you know, if you're gonna play that card, you have to also know what it is to have a kid.
I don't think I fully agree with you. I don't think there's what percentage of women are out there that are thinking about the abortion that say, well, did Kamala have a kid or not? I think they just care about their own situation.
I think a small percentage do.
Okay. I'm not going to disagree with you, but the point is Trump is sort of damned if he does, damned if he do. Right. I actually genuinely don't think he's on the same page with DeSantis on 6 weeks. His hardcore base, the evangelical Christians, they want nothing. They would love to see a nationwide abortion ban. I don't think he's there. You know, he's all over the map. And if you're explaining, you're losing. Dude, focus on the economy, focus on the border, focus on communist comrade Kamala. Stay away from this abortion thing. It ain't helping your cause, DJT.
Yeah, I think he is flirting with a creative idea. If he puts the idea in there for marry 3 years, I think he's flirting with a creative idea. And I think he has to find a way, maybe for him not to say it, but for his team to talk about the fact that how can she relate to there's one thing both Trump and Kamala have in common. Even though he's a man, she's a female. Neither one of them have ever given birth to a child.
Yeah.
Period. So that's the one thing that they have in common.
He does need, and J.D. Vance isn't the answer, a female person. I saw our friend Alina Habba out there on the stumping on the trail. A mother, a tough son of a gun mother who loves America. Get out there and sort of be a Kellyanne Conway, if you will, to get out there. Because if Trump is talking about abortion, I don't think that's going to resonate with the ladies.
Totally agree. All right. Well, gang, listen. If Adam persuaded you guys to go try IVF, that was his method of doing it. His sponsors is a link below if you guys do want to go to the hospital he goes to.
Nice.
But next September 10th, Rob, is this Tuesday or Wednesday?
Next Tuesday, a week from today.
Next Tuesday at our comedy club. We're going to watch the debate together. If you were there last time, we had a blast. We're only inviting 50 people because our staff always gets upset when they don't get the seats. But we do have space for 50 of you. First come, first serve. If you want to be with us next Tuesday, come on down. This is typically the best opportunity for us to sit there and have fun, talk a lot of different things. And also in the back, a lot of business gets done in that cigar lounge in the back. So go to that QR code, go to 5990live.com, get registered. We'll see you guys next week. And we will not be doing another podcast this week. However, Thursday, the interview with Randall Carlson. We talked about Freemasons. We talked about a lot of weird things with Randall Carlson. That podcast will be going live on Thursday. God bless everybody. We'll do it again next week. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.